democracy and ever-changing bills and computer terminology. Commodore reviews. Are you keeping up with the Commodore? Yes, the Commodore is keeping up with you. Are you keeping up with the Commodore? Yes, the Commodore is keeping up with you. Are you keeping up? Yes, the Commodore is keeping up with you. Are you keeping up? Yes, the Commodore is keeping up with you.
Hello and welcome to episode 135 of Zapped to the Past. I am Adrian Mills and I'm joined as always by Mr. Graham Raddings. If you haven't listened before, this is a podcast where we discuss games that were released for the Commodore 64. We are using the magazine Zap 64 as a monthly guide for the games to focus on, but we are in no way affiliated with Zap 64 itself. This week, we start our look at November 1989 and the first batch of games reviewed in issue 55 of Zap 64, along with what was also going on in the UK singles and albums chart that month. Graham, the games are as thin as my hair, but tell us if they are any good.
In this post-Jingle Bell episode where we try to understand what the purpose of the Hovis biscuit is in an otherwise multi-cracker-based selection box, we give a name to our pain, go home and wash our tights, and distribute Chiroptera searchlight templates for the local police as we stalk the streets of 8-bit Gotham looking for the Joker in Batman the movie. And we grab our dusty fedora hats, battered leather jackets, trusty whips for life, and orthopedic footwear as we head off on a quest for the Holy Grail and possibly some quieter shoes in Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, the action game. It remains a mystery. The Hovis biscuit is a bread-shaped and themed digestive, and no one can explain how or why it entered the cracker realm in the first place. It's a time and cracker-based anomaly, and we ain't never going to figure it out. Anyway, after we mercifully depart Hollywood, we explore the multiple galaxies, zones, vectors, and crosswords in a quest for accuracy and upgrades in the more than meets the eye world of Cosmic Pirate, and then sneak into the dangerous lair of another arch criminal, crack a few skulls with a giant whacking stick, and hunt down some secret documents and the exit in the exciting Kendo Warrior. Every time we head to 8-bit Hollywood, we find the games are more Plan 9 than Aliens. Now that's a joke you can use. Thank goodness for budget games, that's all I'm saying. Oh, thank goodness for budget games. Don't hold your breath. Or maybe you should hold your breath a little.
Maybe. I don't know. It's certainly a podcast of two halves, this one, I think.
Yeah, well, it's another trip to Hollywood, isn't it? Hooray for Hollywood. Or is it hooray for Hollywood?
Hooray for Hollywood. Hollywood is here. And we're not sure we like it.
The movie tie-ins are strong in this
they're
one.
They're very strong at this point. But before we get into any of that, Graham, we've got to look at the cover.
Oh, of course we do, yeah. What issue is this?
Issue 55, November 1989, as I said in the intro, which you clearly weren't listening to.
Well, I don't. I tend to be setting other things up in the background when you're talking about that.
I could be saying anything.
I'm checking levels. I'm doing all sorts of stuff. Oh, no, I do hear it, but I'm checking your levels. I'm more interested in the tonality of it all.
He is doing stuff. Anyway, Power Drift.
Okay. Yeah, okay. I'll be honest, I don't remember a lot about Power Drift. Other than it's like a little buggy on a track. That's it. And that could be anything.
It's an undulating up and down car game, isn't it? It's lots of ups and downs and skidding around. It's kind of like a more kinetic Boogie Boy or something, I always thought.
Yeah, I mean, I remember the arcade because I remember the arcade's giant hydraulics.
Yeah.
And I've been on it at the arcade club and I did rubbish at it, which I knew I would because I was always rubbish at driving games. So this is no exception.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's also, it's different to Boogie Boy in that this is actually a genuine racer, isn't it? So it's a proper racing game. So it's kind of like would you say maybe like an early Mario Kart?
I suppose you could argue that. And there's an argument there maybe, but...
maybe. I don't know.
Yeah.
But it is the
C64
cover.
version. Yeah, it is the cover.
It is the cover. We've got a girl in the red car and a Mr. T lookalike in the blue car. And they're having a race.
All he wants to do is stuff his face. He looks like an extra from Mad Max 2 as well, that guy.
She's giving him the brush off and he's giving her the fist. Not literally, just, in the air.
Yeah, she's flying through the air, yeah. Which is good. Yeah. Very actiony.
Yeah. Win a satellite system from Power Play, Graham. You could win a satellite system.
Genericprizes.com, isn't it that?
Well, someone did point out to us, didn't they, what exactly a video Walkman was this
They
week.
did. Our amazing Patreons found one, and I couldn't
That wasn't
believe
Patreon,
it.
that was someone on Facebook. I posted it. Someone on Facebook did that. I can't remember the name, though. I should look it up. I will look it up.
Oh, well, I thought it was the patrons. Well, I'm giving the credit to the patrons anyway, because that's where I saw it.
That's because that's where I posted it.
Well, that's just, I'm afraid the patrons get the credit then.
Oh, man. Can't have that. We need to say who did it, because it's only fair that someone pointed out to us. We get loads of comments, you see, so it's hard to find them all. Anyway, you talk. Let me find this picture.
Well, what's interesting about this cover is they've listened. Our voices travelled through space and time, and they listened because we was complaining that there was too much text on the page. And they've stripped it all back and focused on maybe 2 or 3 of the games. So on here, you've only got Batman the movie reviewed on C64 and Amiga, which is odd to put that because that's what the title of the magazine is. But there you go.
It is.
So they clearly didn't have anything else to say about it.
No.
And then the Untouchables beat the booze with Ocean. I think the person who's writing the subheadings here, we might just need a talking to.
This might do. By the way, just to thank, it was Stefan Olsen on Facebook who pointed out the video.
Golf clap, Stefan Olsen.
Yeah,
golf
well done,
clap.
Stefan. Thank you.
For you.
Cheers,
well
Stefan.
done. Thank you for that golf clap. Yeah. So, and also at the bottom, there's a Turbo Outrun exclusive preview. I'm sensing a great tremor in the uppercase, lowercase force.
I'm also experiencing a great tremor in the most boring banner ever committed to front of a magazine force.
That is
dreadful.
Really, really, really
what will make
dreadful.
It better?
That.
I just put the barcode in it.
Yeah. Well, I think I sensed last minute because why is it on a pink road? Why is the turbo out and the run not aligned properly? They're not even lined up properly. And then it says exclusive in capital letters and preview in lowercase. It's all kinds of bad.
It's not great. Yeah, I don't get it. It's not good.
Why is it there? I think it's covering up something. That looks to me like it's covering up something. I wonder if they'd had something originally on the print and then they realised that it was wrong or there was something they didn't have, so they've had to quickly put that over it because it does look a bit odd and kind of added on. Me.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, they couldn't do a Batman or an Untouchables cover because we've had 2 of them recently, haven't they?
Oh, yeah, they have, yeah.
I don't think Ocean's brown envelopes of cash paid for 3 covers. But you would have thought that if saved 1 back for the actual issue where they appeared. But
You'd think so, wouldn't you?
What do I
who is the Power Drift by? Who's the maker of Power Drift at this? But I don't suppose it matters.
I know who coded it.
US Gold, is it or something? Or
no, I know Chris Butler coded it. I think it might be Elite, but
it's the sort of thing they would do, isn't it? Sort of thing. But yes, it's all good. They are clearly driving some kind of buggies, aren't they? Very similar to those sort of sand dune type things.
Activision.
There you go. Activision.
It's originally Sega. Chris Butler did it. Activision published it.
But it's safe to say, I think that the person who did the typesetting for this has listened to us, but he didn't listen to the enthusiasm guy. So he's just gone, world exclusive Power Drift review. Batman the movie reviewed on C64 and Amiga. Is it?
The Untouchables. Okay. Beat the booze with Ocean.
Turbo Outrun, exclusive preview. That's all you're getting. No more text from me. Oh, we've got this amazing prize of this award-winning satellite system. Win satellite system from.
Either that or they've figured out that they made a deal with someone, the typesetter, to pay him by the word. And they've cottoned onto his grift and gone, oi, stop it. We're paying you far too much. Your effusive nonsense on the front covers will no longer get past us.
I think you're onto something with that.
I reckon I might be. Yeah. Plus I got to use the word effusive, which is, always good.
Very rare. Very rare we get that in there. That's good.
It is
very
true.
good.
There we go. That's the cover.
10 grapples for you.
It is as well.
10 grapples.
We should say as well, Happy New Year. This is the first episode of the new year.
Oh, yeah. Welcome to 2024.
We hope you had in the future, in the past, we hope you had a good Christmas back behind us. It's very weird. Podcasting is weird when you got to do stuff planned in the future.
Yeah, it is. I mean, I know they feel for that dancing show on Saturday when they have to do the Sunday show on a Saturday. So everyone has to pretend it's Sunday, even though it's Saturday on what's it called? Strictly Come Dancing. So they film them. Obviously, they film the Sunday show straight after the Saturday one, but everyone has to pretend. So it's like, welcome to they change their outfits and everything. Welcome to the Sunday show. Everyone's looking at each other going, oh, do we have to do this charade? It's ridiculous.
It is ridiculous.
What they do. They do.
Because especially if big news breaks, something big, then it's all gone to pot. And
it's all gone completely wrong.
We realise that it's all smoke and mirrors in the world of Strictly Come Dancing.
It is. Smoke and dancing mirrors, yes.
Anyway, there we go. It's a slim pickings month. There's only 9 games all told this month.
Wowza.
So this episode, there are only 4. There are only 4 titles. Okay. But, they are what they are. Might just give us a bit more space to talk about them more because they may have the quality for us to discuss them even more than we normally
Superior quality, perfect workmanship.
Absolutely. I just do eyes. I don't know what you're on about. Right. Should we get into them anyway? Should we get into the first one?
Let us begin.
Let us begin. And Graham, it's over to you. Well, this is a biggie. It's a gold medal. It's 96. It's Batman the movie.
Yes, it was hot on the heels of Batman the not movie. The Caped Crusader was the other one, wasn't it?
Cape Crusader. That was earlier in the year. Yeah.
So this is based obviously on the Tim Burton film that was recently released at that time. It was a big hit, to say the least. I think the film, huge, massive thing, big. It was enormous. It's hard to explain. The only thing I can compare it to in terms of its hype, it's probably the Avengers movies most recently. I think something like that. Perhaps the two big Avengers movies were the final part one, something like that. But it was a big event, and up until this point, not many films had really hit the marketing hammer quite as hard. So this was unavoidable. The logo was everywhere. Everything was Batman, and it was very well received. A lot of people really, really liked it. Had a very interesting pedigree, Batman the movie, because of course the film is obviously a film about Batman, but the film was directed by, just to briefly touch on that, obviously we've talked about it a little bit, but it was directed by Tim Burton. I think is the creator of Batman, is it Bob Kane? Is that the original creator of that?
Yeah, it's Bob Kane, and is it
Bill Finger, I think.
Bill Finger, I think, yeah.
Yeah. And of course, the film starred Michael Keaton, Jack Nicholson, Kim Basinger, Billy D. Williams, and Jack Palance, and so on and so forth. Had quite the cast. Mm-hmm. Obviously, big soundtrack. And we've seen loads, and we talked loads about Batman. So it was inevitable that it was going to become a game, perhaps even more inevitably, a game from Ocean. So this is a £9.99 it cost. I don't know if it was more on disc or not, but it was £9.99. 96% this got in Zapped. This was a gold medal.
I know.
So this is not just, this is golden balls Batman. This has got to be top flight Batman, hasn't it? This got to be, the Caped Crusader was one thing, but this is Batman on a whole nother level. Surely it must be awesome. Well, it's coded by Zach Townsend. He's been around a bit. He knows his way around the C64, does that guy?
He does.
Graphics are by Andrew Slay. He knows his way around the C64. That guy, he's painted a few pixels in his time. He's a good one. He's a good egg. It's a good egg.
Okay.
Title screen was Andrew Slay, and the musician Matthew Cannon. The unknown, hitherto up to this point, unknown, I think. I'm not unknown, but not as common, Matthew Cannon. But still, okay, it is what it is. So let's talk about the game then. We know what the film's about. So let's just see. The game is going to be based on the film. Batman has got an archenemy. The archenemy, he creates the archenemy, which is the Joker, drops him in a vat of acid or whatever it is. That turns Jack Napier from Jack Napier into the Joker. He goes crazy, and obviously all things go wrong. Jack Napier, the Joker, then spends most of the film trying to kill Batman. Batman tries to hunt it down. He's also got a plot to gas everybody and all sorts of stuff. Batman thwarts him every turn and then chucks him off a church. There you go. Summarize the film for you, nice and quick.
Well done.
So the game is based on that. Now, according to the blurb, it says Batman, trademark, a legend has returned. Bruce Wayne, trademark, the multimillionaire head of Wayne Foundation, is an unassuming, quiet type of guy. Is he now?
Is he?
However, when night falls and evil stalks the streets, he sheds his daytime persona and becomes the masked vigilante of Gotham City, trademark. Batman, trademark. Cruising against crime from the rooftops of the sickened city, his objective becomes the elimination of Gus Grissom's criminal empire, in particular, the conquest of Jack Napier, trademark, the psychotic second in command. Napier was the most cunning and sadistic force in Gotham, trademark. In Gotham anyway. But when an accident befell him, twisting him both physically and mentally, he became the ultimate criminal, the Joker, trademark. You control the Caped Crusader, trademark, in 5 different scenarios as he is pitted against his malevolent nemesis. That's not easy to say, malevolent nemesis. Malevolent nemesis.
Malevolent nemesis. Malevolent, no, it's not.
In the life or death struggles that ensue. The ultimate movie inspires the ultimate game. Play Batman. That's the orders. Okay, so the game is principally a multi-level affair where you have to play, I suppose the levels are based on scenes from the film of a sort. Depending on which level you're on will depend on who you're controlling and what you have to do in that particular level. So in level 1, you've got the Axis chemical plant. Level 2, you've got an escape to the Batcave. Level 3 is a chemical analysis level in the Batcave. Level 4 is called the Carnival, where you've got to fly the Batwing. And then level 5 is Gotham Cathedral, where you then can finally confront the Joker. That's the plan. And those are all kind of hopscotched scenes from the film that you then replay in a kind of gamey way. All right, okay. We've seen it kind of done before. So each one of the levels is kind of controlled, not differently, but there are nuances to them. And at least two of them, the first sort of level 1 and 5 kind of play the same way. And level 2 and 4 kind of play the same way. So really only level 3 is the one that's kind of different. And even that, you're only going to see it for a minute, right?
Yeah, it's barely a level.
Barely a level. So in section 1, which is the Axis chemical plant, as Bruce Wayne, you overhear Commissioner Gordon telling the mayor of an attack on the Axis chemical plant by Jack Napier and his henchmen. Acting swiftly, you don your black costume and make your way to the scene. I'm assuming he means the Batman outfit when they say that, because you just puts on a black outfit and goes out there like, oh, Batman. I'm Batman, that's right. Once inside the factory, you must move towards the exit and Napier. On the far right of the map, you will meet assorted criminals along the way. Assorted means 2 different types. Some of whom will attack you physically, some will shoot at you, and some will throw grenades. Avoid also leaking chemical droplets and gas bursts at various points on your route. You can sustain a limited amount of hits as your body armor affords a certain degree of protection, but your energy can be depleted quite rapidly if you do not try to defend yourself. Use the batarang to throw at your attackers and your bat rope to access levels above. By shooting a grapnel that costs 15 grapples, shooting a grapnel device from your belt and reeling yourself up. In the final scene of this level, you will confront Napier himself. If you defeat him, you will fall into a vat of toxic chemical waste, which will disfigure his appearance and mind. You have created the Joker. Didn't mean to do that, did you?
Oh dear.
So I'll do the blurb, and then I'm just going to explain what it looks like. So that's essentially the first level. The way it looks when the game starts, you'll go through the title screen. You get a loading screen, which is okay. It's okay. It's got kind of I thought it'd be better. I'm just going to say it out loud. I thought it'd be better.
In comparison to the other Batman game, it's not as good.
No, I just thought it'd be better. I was kind of disappointed. So maybe that's just, I don't know. I just thought it'd be, even I'd have settled for just the logo, I think.
Yeah, Batman looks like he's been, covered in flour and God knows what's going on with the Joker. His lips are at the wrong angle. Because his face is looking from 3/4 and his lips are full on. I don't like it.
No. They should have just stuck to the logo.
Yep.
Anywho, so when you start you get to the title screen, you press fire, you'll get a little bit of explanation of what you're about to do in terms of the Axis chemical plant, so what you got to do, and then the game will begin. The top sort of, I guess you call it the fifth of the screen, is the kind of sort of simplistic UI that features your score, the high score currently. There's a little bat face. And then to the right of that, you've got your time for the level and then 3 little bat logos, which are your lives. You only have 3 lives in this. Mm-hmm. Lives you can lose stupidly as Batman, I feel, but we'll come to that. A Batman, I think, does his face disappear gradually? That's your energy, isn't it? I think the little Batman.
It transforms into the Joker. It does what what about in Cobra? He used the same trick in Cobra, didn't he? Yes.
I was trying to think what game it was. Yes, it is that. We've definitely seen it where his face went all weirdly skeletal, and there was a half and half stage where we were like, oh, that's terrifying, but I can't remember what game it was.
Was it RoboCop?
Anyway, might have been RoboCop. Anyway, it'll come back to us. So that's the UI, and that's principally the same. There's a couple of changes on later levels I'll talk about. And then you get to the main level itself. Now, I'll say this. The graphics of the backgrounds aren't that bad on this level. They kind of look all right. They're a good first sort of stop-off point. What you are is walking around platforms, and they're kind of, it looks like the inside of a factory. There's brick walls. Of course, there's brick walls, but they actually look pretty effective. The shading's quite nice. And you are Batman in the classic sort of tradition of these things. There's a kind of high-res overlay sprite. It's not terrible, but there's a cost, Barbarian, for having Batman like this, isn't there?
Yeah.
And what you are is basically climbing up ladders. Seems pointless to have those when you can just rope up. But anyway, or you can use your bat rope, press fire button. You control a button with a joystick, and then you can either fire your batarangs, or you can then press I think you press the fire button and then push up, or up and then the fire button. I can't remember which. But either way, one of those 2-way rounds, and he'll fire his bat rope thing, and then you can climb up and onto the next stage above you. And that's really what you've got to do to kind of navigate your way over to the corner. The top, you're going from bottom left corner essentially to top right, really. And you've got to try and navigate the route. And the platforms obviously are broken and there's walls in the way. So you've got to go up, down, left, right, sort of like a maze. And then, of course, you can either climb on the ladders. There's going to be guys that are trying to stop you. There's people running backwards and forwards, shooting. There are people who are throwing grenades. Like it said in the blurb, there's those things. And you have to either throw your battering at them or you've got to try and deal with them. Now, there are some nuances to this. Batman can fire his rope and he can swing. So you can swing from place to place. Now, you have to be careful how you do this. There's a couple of things to note. So I'm going to say this right now. Firstly, if you swing Batman into a wall, he dies. He crumbles onto one knee. He does a goth crumble.
he does.
He just crumbles like a goth on a dance floor in the 80s, and then that's it, and you lose a life.
Mhm.
Likewise, if Batman falls too far, something which really, really, really wound me up is that if Batman falls too far in this game, his bat wings don't extend, which they do in the film.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
he kind of floats down, or you can't
Mhm.
fire your, what do you call the thing that he fires? What do you call it? The bat rope thing, whatever you call
Well,
it.
yeah, where to get those wonderful toys, that thing.
Yeah, the very thing that he does in the film to save himself. That.
Yeah, yeah.
So you can't do any of those things. So if you fall off a ledge and it's too far, Batman will also die, which seems really, really stupid. Like I said, I think the graphics in this section are actually pretty good. Scrolling, okay, it's fine. The way you move around is okay. It's a little bit slow and ploddy, but it's okay. There's not many enemies in it, though. There's not many enemies in there. And so that's the payoff between you being quite a nicely drawn Batman and having nice backgrounds to explore, is there ain't going to be much in there. The occasional drop that drops on you, the occasional bit of gas that gasses at you, and the odd guy here and there. And the backgrounds, although they do very little, are very much of a similar ilk. So expect girders, expect pipe kind of banisters and ladders and sort of background pipe detail. And that does sort of pretty much permeate the entire first level.
Uh-huh.
Now, there is music going all the way through this. I think there's sound effects. I can't remember.
Yeah, I think you can play with either. You can play music or sound effects.
And the music's pretty good, actually, in this. It's all right. It's not the Batman music, but it sort of suits the action. Okay, I'm not going to complain too much about that. And the effects, the same way. They're in service of it. So as a first level, it isn't actually that bad. And my thought at this point when I was playing was, I hope this isn't it. I hope this isn't just this. Because it's a bit boring. Because Batman's not doing much Batman-y stuff. On all the modern Batman games, you spend most of your time thumping people in the mouth. It's kind of exciting, lots of thok fighting. And I was expecting there to be a bit more of that in it. Like fighting, there isn't any fighting in this. You either batarang them, or you walk into them and just knock them off the ledges in this. And if you do that too often, they win. So it just feels a little bit like understated Batman. It's like, no, it's not quite Batman-y, but he looks the part, and okay, that's the game. So once you get through that, you'll get to the end of it, and you'll throw Jack Napier into a vat of acid, and then he'll go, yeah, ha, ha, and he becomes the Joker. Okay, that's done. Next bit. So once you've dealt with him, you get to this escape to the Batcave sequence where you actually got to drive the Batmobile down the street and then turn corners. Now, it's not the most exciting thing, that. And it's also done in a really unexciting way. So everything goes a bit grey at this point. So sort of goes light grey. Everything goes kind of tonally grey. Even the Batmobile's grey, which is weird because the Batmobile should be black.
It should be black.
I don't get why it's grey.
Black. It should be black.
And what baffled me even more is that on the sprite itself, the windows are black and the car's grey. Like, why didn't they make the car black and the windows grey?
Don't get me started.
So in this one, you control Batmobile, and it's a bit like a crap sideways scrolling Spy Hunter. So you got to just navigate your way through the cars. You're in the Batmobile, for God's sake. It's rocket powered.
No.
But in this, it's just held up in traffic principally. So it's like it's just Batman driving through a busy traffic.
It's 5 o'clock on a November afternoon. That's what this section is. It's God. Traffic's dead heavy.
It's the A63 just trying to get from, get towards the Humber Bridge. It's that.
Yeah.
So you'd be driving through, the idea of this is you're driving through Gotham. Now, fortunately for you and most everyone else, the only turns available in Gotham are left.
Yes, they are.
And even if you accidentally go past one and need to turn right, it will automatically turn you left. So you're always left in. Which is okay. It's a bit of a political statement, maybe, I don't know, but that's what it is.
Yeah.
And so the idea is you're racing along, I say race, but trundling along the road in your grey Batmobile. So not sure where we bought that. And periodically, there's an arrow that will say, go, keep going. Then it will say, turn left. So you press your fire button and a rope will fly out of the Batmobile. And like in the film, he does like a sharp handbrake turn, but it's not. He cleverly wraps his bat rope, whatever the hell it is, from his car to the nearest lamppost and spins around. Very exciting. Not in this, though. Not in this. It's like the most pedestrian version, like, wee, do, di-di-di-da, di-di-di, wee. So all of the escape, and it's also escape to the Batcave, and it's not really clear what you're escaping from at this point. Anyway, it's just, for me, it was just a short, an unavoidable trip down the A15 in the Batmobile and sort of getting caught up in traffic. Anyway, eventually you'll get to the Batcave and you'll turn left into the Batcave. Handily enough, Batcave is also on the left. Graphics here, the background scenery is all grey and sort of tonally bland. It's meant to be buildings. I guess they do look like it, but they all look the same. The road turnings are all the same. You've got a variety of cars on the road, all stupid and stupidly drawn. And it's not very good. And then you've got the grey the rest of the screen is all grey to make up for the fact that you're on a road. So that easily helps you with the road markings, which are at least white and not green. But either way, they've got the Batmobile the wrong colour in a game that's really about Batmobile being the right colour, isn't it? And it's the one thing you don't want to get wrong, is that.
No, you do not.
Then you'll get to the chemical analysis in the Batcave. And this is actually quite an interesting thing. But it's an old game. It's an old game, isn't it? So it's the game of, is it Mastermind?
It's Mastermind, yeah.
So you've got, and it's actually stupidly easy as well. So you've got variation of the old game of Mastermind where you can choose 3 objects and it'll tell you how many of those 3 you've got right. And you've got X amount of guesses in 60 seconds to do it. That's how it works. Now, the way it's drawn is okay. You can choose the 3 objects and it's like a left to right and it'll say, there's 2 correct in there. Did it? There's 2 correct in there, didn't it? No, I actually got 2 correct in the first hit and then I got 3 in the second. So it took me about 2 seconds. And that's
Well
because
done.
I just put it, but that's because I'd seen the film. And in the film, I knew that it was going to be deodorants and perfumes because that's how it does it. Now, I don't know if it does have a bearing on it, whether I was just lucky. But anyway, once you've done that, and it isn't very exciting, I have to say, because it's not really, you don't even get much brouhaha for doing it. It's just like, right, great, you've done that, that solved that, yeah, well done, let's go on, let's move on. Then you'll get to the carnival level.
You will.
You'll recognise the carnival level. You'll recognise it because it's principally the same as the trip to the Batcave. Only you're in the Batwing this time, an animated Batwing. It's the right colour, sort of, but everything else is the same. Same buildings, same background, same height. So there's no variation there. And the idea of this part is, in the film, Batman has to sever the balloons that are filled with toxic gas before the Joker releases the gas and poisons everyone with Smilex. Which is going to make everyone have these weird smiles and die. You don't want that to happen. That's a real party killer, that is. Trust me on that one. So you've got to fly the Batwing and cut the strings of all the balloons. They're not just balloons, they're giant balloons, big inflatable things. So you've got to do that. And they're all on the backs of sort of carnival lorries. So in the game version, you fly a version of the Batwing. It periodically just looks like a kind of a flying missile, really, because it's sort of, the Batwing does animate in the way it flies, and they've tried to make it look Batwingy, but I think kind of missed the trick a little bit. I think perhaps because it's just set in Greyland, and it would have been better if it was set in nighttime, where that particular scene in the film takes place.
In fact, all the film
takes
place.
Because it's all dark, gothic Batman, not grey Batman. That would be Batman the Grey Edition. Anyway, so you're flying through the same landscape. Luckily, you don't have to do any left turns this time, although they are there. You've got these balloons that will trundle towards you, and the idea is you've got to sort of fly through. They're all held on like ropes. You've got to fly through the ropes, cut the balloons. Try not to blow too many of the balloons up because that releases the gas, and you've only got a certain amount of leeway to do that before you'll poison everybody. So that's principally what you have to do: fly the Batwing from left to right, cut the balloons, let them float away, avoid popping them if you can, and then eventually you'll have released enough balloons, and that's that done. It's not very exciting, that.
No, it's not. It's not.
And I hate to say it, it's kind of the key part of the film. It's like the next biggest bit is the bit we're going to go to, but that is like the big scene where he confronts the Joker. Joker shoots at him, knocks his Batwing out the sky, and that's crazy stuff happens at that bit. Not in this one though. We'll just skip that. And then we finally get to the final scene, which is Gotham Cathedral. So according to the blurb in this, because I haven't bothered with the other blurbs because they're not very interesting. They actually just explain what happens in the film. Weirdly, this bit is the shortest bit of them all. It says, pursuing the Joker, trademark, to Gotham Cathedral, trademark, you must negotiate crumbling floors and avoid the rabid rats in order to confront, finally, the Joker, trademark. As in the chemical factory, you must use your Batarang, trademark, and Batrope, trademark, to achieve this aim. On the rooftop, you must defeat the Joker, trademark, or he will make his escape by helicopter and bring Gotham City, trademark, to its knees. So there you go. So that's what that doesn't really say what you got to do, but you know what you got to do. As soon as this level loads, it looks exactly like the first level, only with slight variations of brick design.
Yes, yeah.
So instead of ladders, you've got ropes. So in this, you're climbing the tower of Gotham Cathedral in order to finally confront Jack Napier and the Joker, rather. So and it's exactly the same way. You have to then walk as Batman in his high-res little outfit or high-res overlay sprite, with the exact same enemies, doing the exact same thing in the exact same way, multi-level, scroll around, try and find and navigate your way through, avoid the rats and things, because there are rats in this. In this one, there's more swinging, so you've got to swing across more of the platforms, and it is quite nice the way it does that. The animation isn't, though. It just looks like he bends his legs like a Lego man. So they could have thought a little bit more about that, couldn't they? It just feels like, and this comes back to something that I'll come back to in a moment, which is about the sort of half-heartedness of everything here. But so Batman in this is then, so essentially you're walking upwards and to the right again, principally the same way as you did in the first level. The only difference here is that eventually you'll go all the way up to the top. You'll go past lots of people trying to throw grenades and bombs at you. Some of these are really inconvenient. You'll have swung yourself into a wall dozens of times and dropped off loads of things and died. It's stupidly annoying. You die by stupidity in this, not because you're Batman. And all the things that Batman should be able to prevent, for some reason he never does. They're the very things that he needs to do. Like fire things to save his own life. He just doesn't do those things in this. He's like the stupid Batman. This Batman's other brother. This is the other Batman that we don't talk about. The one that just, took over things. His younger brother.
This is his non-Mexican Union version.
Yeah, it is.
Mexican non-Union version.
Yes, it is. So you'll get to the top of the tower, and then what follows is the most disappointing sequence of all, because then you get the final sequence where you basically, in the film, he ropes the Joker to a gargoyle at the top of the cathedral. And then obviously the Joker's then lifted on a helicopter and he's got the weight of a gargoyle, a concrete gargoyle, hanging off his legs. And obviously it's going to pull him off the ladder and pulls him down to his death. And he ends up in a heat going, well, he doesn't. It's one of them
laughter box
things doing it. In this version, the Joker's put on a bit of weight. I'm just going to say it. I'm not fat shaming the Joker. I'm not doing that. Just saying is considering Batman's so thin and so well high-resed, the Joker's a little bit portly. It's like they didn't think about what to do with the Joker at the end. So they just kind of drew it.
And he's got a grey coat.
Grey coat, green hair. He looks like a Lego man. It's like a Lego version. It's like Batman confronted the Lego Joker.
Where's the purple? Where's the C64 has a purple. It's there.
It does. Well, I think they used it up on all the bricks because the brick design on this is kind of sort of bluey purple, isn't it? Anyway, so you'll confront the Joker at the end and you'll be very disappointed. As soon as you see it, you'll be like, oh, that's rubbish. And then obviously you fire your bat rope thing. It straps to his leg. There's a little mini scene that plays out. It's the 8-bit version, C64 version of the film. You ever want to remember it that way. And then the Joker then will fall to his death in a badly animated sequence, which will make you laugh out loud because it is just like watching someone throw a rock tied to a Lego man off a cliff, which is not how I imagine the death of the Joker to be. And it's quite sad in a kind of weird way. And then you get like some text that says, thank you, well done, but you've finished it. You've beat the game. Yeah, great. You beat the Joker. No final image. No celebrate. No, famously in the film, there's an image of Batman stood. And I think he's got the moonlight on him, hasn't he? He's stood looking over the city of Gotham. And it's this amazing final image. The music.
He climbs up, yeah.
Climbing up there, and he's got this overlook of all of the city. I think the bat light summoning him is shining in the sky with a bat symbol in the sky, and he's looking up at it as if to say, "This is who I've become. I'm in control of Gotham now." Not in this version, it doesn't. Just some tech. Imagine if the film ended that way, and Batman saved the day. Thank you. That's what it feels like.
I'm surprised as well. You didn't mention the fact that text is not justified in any way either.
I don't acknowledge
on the
it.
end screen. It's not center. It's not left. It's not anything. It's just wherever it wants.
Those kind of things give me nightmares, and this is no exception. So to the game then. So, I mean, I've described the game and the sequences in the game. Now, I have to say, this was better than I expected, but only because I didn't have very good expectations of it, because I don't remember it being very good. I just remembered it being that the Batman sprite was quite good. What you end up playing here is kind of RoboCop. It's become the Ocean engine for these kind of games. So they've clearly got the RoboCop engine and made it kind of work for Batman. A little bit of Rastan engine in here as well, I think. So this has clearly got some old code in there. All right, fine. Repurposing your code. It makes sense to do that. You don't have to reinvent the wheel all the time. But that should give you the time and the breadth to be able to think about how you're going to design the game. Now, this is so rote and so just pumped out that it feels like they don't really have any affinity for the film. They clearly watched the film because it's based on the scenes of that, and it's got the key scenes, I get it. But this added no game dynamic to any of this. The first scene is you wandering until you eventually will come across Jack Napier after just walking around and climbing things.
Mm-hmm.
The second one is that boring car chase with the wrong-coloured Batmobile. Third one is the code break. Fourth level is exactly the same as the second level, only you're in the Batwing and there's balloons and it's even more dull. The fifth level is exactly the same as the first level, only slight variation of background detail. Principally, so that for me is weak. That's not game design. You're not thinking about Batman. You think of all the things you could have done with this. It didn't have to be this way. Now, Platoon managed this perfectly well. These multi-scene games, taking scenes and themes and taking ideas out of the game and turning it into something that had coherency, that worked in the way that it did. And we quite liked it for that. I can't understand why that logic hasn't been applied to a license as big as Batman, aside from the fact that it's Ocean and they have clearly rushed to get this out the door so that it was timed with the release of the film so they could maximize the amount of money they were going to make. And that's fine. That's business. I get it. That's the business of games. No problem with that. And these are people these are professional coders, graphic designers and graphic people and everything else. They've done all this. The graphic work is great. Sounds good. The problem here is that nobody thought about the game. They just thought people are like just wandering around as Batman. I could tell you, it's not very good. It's not very interesting. Even the other Batman game, the Caped Crusader, at least it had a little bit more to do. And I'm not a fan of walk and seek games, but at least you had other things to do. In this, you're not even seeking. You're just either Batman walking, Batman drives, or Batman flies. That's it. That's all you do. There's nothing really challenging you in this game. The only difficulty that's applied to this is because some of the enemies are in hard-to-reach places, and because Batman's so stupid that he falls off things and dies or flies into walls. Batman doesn't do those things. Famously, Batman never, in the whole history of Batman, has never swung heroically into a wall of a church and killed himself. That doesn't happen. There's a reason for that. So I was horribly disappointed with this. We looked at the film a couple of weeks ago, I think, or two or three episodes ago, and I have to say on a revisit, the film doesn't get everything right. We said at the time the Joker's not quite right and other things, but Gotham was right. We said that, and Batman was right. Mm-hmm. Those are the two things that they got wrong in this game. And that's the easiest things to get right. Just darken the game and give Batman some, fights. I mean, even if they'd have made a Knucklebusters variation of this Batman game, it would have been closer to Batman than this was. This feels like even more of a boring version of RoboCop, and RoboCop was boring and broken. At least it's not broken, I suppose. But this is just RoboCop meets Batman. This is the same game, different graphics, same problem. Walking around as these people is boring, and driving their vehicles is boring. Get them the right colour. Do it properly. This is very disappointing. I have to say, considering the prowess and the expense that this license must have been, and all the people that would have bought this because it's a Batman license, and I mean, this was like currency, wasn't it? So I thought this was awful. Add to that, controls that are, they're a bit sluggish here and there, and the fact that you can't punch, you can only throw batarangs. It's like Batman's fights all the time in the damn film. He barely uses his batarangs. I'm just fed up with this kind of notion of just put the Batman characters in and get them walking around and doing stuff. This is the same as that stupid Tom and Jerry game. It's the same logic that's applied. They have not thought about the very thing they're making. And I'm not blaming the game creators, the people that make these things. But at the end of the day, they're being paid to make a game in a very short time frame. And that's not easy to do. But at some point, Ocean and the people and the suits in the rooms who decide what's going to go into these things have just completely given up on the idea of making a game. And they've just made a boring walkathon, stuck a license on it, knowing full well that loads of people are going to buy it. I think it's a great shame, a missed opportunity. And I have to say, because it's all of those things, one of the worst game licenses tie-ins I think I've ever seen. And that's not because it's done graphically or anything else. It's just because they took a license and they just did a great big dump on it. And that is not a good idea. So I thought it stunk, this game, but only because... And I have to say, I don't want this review to come across as a big stab at all of the coders, the graphic people, and all of those people, because it's not. You've actually done a great job with what you've made, but at some point, the game design was never really going to be a thing, was it? And so I think that's the big flat disappointment. So this is rubbish. This is dog egg, and I thought I'd never be saying that about a big Batman game license like that. But what about you?
Wow, yeah, gold medal. The gold medal for this?
No, it's not a gold medal. No.
I mean, what? What we have here is another Zach Townsend game, high on production values. They generally always are, but low on actual enjoyable gameplay, which we've seen on quite a few of the titles that he's made. I'm not going, but it's just the first section, as you said, I've just read the first section is boring. Yes, it may look nice, and the bat rope is an interesting touch, but it's a wander around maze game with drops of faith that routinely kill me, which is dead annoying. Do I drop down? Oh, I'm dead. I'm just keep on falling. Why can't I rescue him? Oh, I can't. I'm dead. I don't like the fact that the screen doesn't scroll down far enough to show what is underneath you. The running enemies are annoying, and those gas grenade throwers, so the inability to throw a batarang whilst hanging. You could take them out.
Stupid.
That would be one thing. You could sort of zoom up to them and hit them with a batarang. Take a bit of skill, but why can't you do that? No, you can't do any of that. And as for trying to get the actual rope swinging, pain in the ass. Pain in the ass. I did not care for this section. The carpet is bloody frustrating. And as you noted, why is it all grey? Why is the Batmobile grey? Why is it set during the day? Why is it not set at night? There's loads of questions. I was looking at it going, what? I don't understand any of this. Why have cars that don't behave like any car on the road? They're not cars. Yeah. It's like Dodgems. It's like bumper cars.
Yeah, it is.
And like the Batmobile should just plough through them. Just get out of the way. But no, a few knocks. Oh, Batmobile's blown up, whatever. Rubbish.
Yep.
And a twitchy turning move that means I'm going in a circle when all I do is turn left.
True, yeah.
I'm just, and actually, some of the turns are slightly quicker. So I'm going in a spiral. Is the Batcave at the centre of Gotham? No, it's on the outskirt. If I'm turning left all the time, I'm going in a circle. That's simple physics and math. No, when we get to the little puzzle section, I quite enjoyed this. It was okay. Bit like the old Mastermind games, a pleasant shift in tone, just because it was dead easy. But, it was like, oh, I like these kind of puzzly things. That's all right. And then the Batwing, again, put it at night. Please put it at night. Batman doesn't work clearly, this Batman, he has a 9-to-5 job. And he's on his way home, and he's like, oh, have I got... No, I'm at home. I'm watching telly. Whilst this bit was okay, I guess, it's a bit boring. And by now, I was just losing interest in the whole thing. And the last section was just a rehash of the first one, with slightly different background graphics. Yeah. Plodding around, flopping me bat rope around, people trying to shoot me. Oh, God, it's better than RoboCop, I guess, that's for sure. But 2 boring mazes, boring vehicle sections, and a decent little puzzle bit. That's, as you said, 5 seconds. 5 seconds of pleasure.
Wow, okay.
That's not a good night with anyone, especially not with Batman. You expect Batman to give you a good time all night. Not in this one. 5 seconds. Rubbish.
Do for what I'm paying.
As licenses go, I guess it's okay. I guess its production values are good. I guess it follows the film in a coherent way. It does follow the film.
Yeah, I suppose it does. So
they've got that, and the production around it is slick and smooth as you would expect, apart from that stupid ending.
It is. The production is good. I'll give it that. I mean, it's good, apart from the ending, yeah.
Yeah, which is stupid, but the content is just dull and pedestrian and just not much fun. I much preferred the other Batman game from earlier in the year to this. I said, we're not massive fans of Find and Seek, but there's some clever little touches in that. And obviously that comic book look and feel to it, the way you could use the Joker, the mask sort of thing and turn purple and stuff. And there was more colour, the backgrounds, but it was just better. I'm sorry, it was better. I was expecting more of this. As I had heard it was very good. Lots of good reviews on Lemon. People going, it's brilliant, best license ever, blah, blah, which I know is, whatever. But, I was thinking, okay, but I came away very disappointed. All I can say is that trip to Ocean a couple of issues back must have been a real doozy for this to get a gold medal. I've got a feeling that they played all these games. Someone noted they've probably gone there and they've played them in situ at Ocean because I think that they're probably written a couple of months before, aren't they? Because magazine lead times.
Yeah.
It's come out in November, and I think they've been brazzled and dazzled at the Ocean offices and stuff. And look at this, isn't it cool? And maybe some bits and bobs, and they've gone, and then they've come back, and then this has happened.
Quite possibly.
I don't know. I don't like it. I didn't like Batman the movie. I thought it was just dull. That's the worst thing a Batman game should be. Is dull.
Yeah, I have to agree. That's what upset me with it. I didn't have high expectations, but I was hoping that it would impress me. I was hoping that I'd be impressed with it. And just, boring Batman? Who would have thought that was even possible? But goodness me, they found a way. Wow.
Absolutely. Batball.
Yeah, Batball.
There we go. That's Batman the movie. That was a long one. But let's move on because we're still in Hollywood. And we've still got another icon to see how that travail that goes on. Oh, God.
Oh, God.
And so our next one is, it's full. I mean, it's Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, but this is Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, the action game.
Weird.
The action game. This was £9.99. We're still in Hollywood, as I said. And this was full price, £9.99. It was published by US Gold. It's copyright of Lucasfilm Games. It's developed by Tiertex.
They sound familiar.
Yeah, they do. With code by Alex Fish and Mark Tate. Graphics by James Clark, Nick Pavis and Lee Christian. And music by Mark Tate. They will sound familiar. I think they're people who did they do the Double Dragon game? They might have done that. But these aren't the same people who did that, so it's different. It's the same company, but not the same people. So,
and with good cause.
Yeah, absolutely. There's no loading screen that I can seem to see anywhere, despite having one on just about every other version of the game. Every other version gets a loading screen. We don't. And this came out on a lot of systems, Graham. A lot of systems. This came out on the Amiga, ST, Amstrad, DOS, Game Boy, Mega Drive, MSX, NES, Master System, and the Spectrum.
Wow, okay.
Yeah, that's a lot of platforms. And just before we get into the game itself, we've got another game here that, like Zybots the other week, was previewed in Zap in issue 52 and had full colour screenshots with multicolour backgrounds of the C64 version, looking very different to the release version. It's covered on the website, Games That Weren't, and I'm just going to quote them here to what they've written. In the comments on the game on Lemon 64's entry, Mark Tate, who's did the music and some of the code, in 2003 says that he was originally working on the game and had to hand it over due to having to commit to music development. Could it be, therefore, that this version was Mark's original version and the released game was a version started from scratch? Maybe.
Could be.
What is interesting is that Zap Italia reviewed the game, and they actually had their screenshots showing the colour screenshots. Weird, huh? They do wonder if they couldn't. I'll come to it. They couldn't get the torch effect working properly in the first section, hence the switch in style. I don't know. Whatever it is. Whatever. It's like Spider-Man's puddles all over again for those who know your modern games. But let's get to the game that was released. When the game loads, we have a simple title screen with the logo for Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade in high res, looking like a Spectrum version at the top, and the credits for the game. There's nothing to do but press the fire button, which starts the first part of the game. It's a multi-load game, this. Each section is its own load. I don't know why. I'm just going to say that.
No one knows why.
I don't know why. I don't know. The game is split into 5 levels, just like Batman. And the first of these sees Indy making his way through a series of dark caves. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through the game first before we come to what I think, mostly. The game is split into 5 levels. So he's making through a series of dark caves in search for the Cross of Coronado. So this is a multi-directional scrolling platform section. You need to make your way from platform to platform, jumping between them and climbing ropes to make your way through the section. In this Batman...
Sounds very similar.
What's going on here? There are Native Americans, I think, who will throw axes at you and who will also be climbing the ropes perpetually, up and down. Up and down. Their life is a rope climber. Up and down.
So dumb.
In certain parts of the cave. Controls are simple enough. Left and right for movement. Up and diagonals for jumping. Up and down when you're on a rope to climb it. And you can automatically jump off the rope with just left and right. That's actually quite nice. I did like that little control touch.
Yeah.
One of the few bits. Because it's easy. You just have to touch to the right, it'll jump. You have to hit and fire. Oh, good. I like that. It's nice. Your fire button is used when you move in to either punch or use your whip. If you have one, you find a whip. As you make your way through the cave, stalactites must be avoided as they fall from the ceiling. You need to pick up torches to light the way for a reason I couldn't fathom, and extra whips can be found. You only get 5 whip cracks per whip. Crap whips.
What stupid.
Yep. 5 whip cracks per whip.
Stupid.
All I can say is don't whip crack away, because they'll be gone before you know it. Don't listen to that song.
Nobody makes disposable whips. Nobody makes them. They don't exist.
In Sainsbury's, they're like right next to the disposable vapes. Disposable whips.
And why would someone festoon a cave with them? Just in case Indiana Jones is coming. Make sure you use the disposable ones. Don't you be giving him any of them lifelong. You know, they're like a bag for life, a whip for life.
Oh, whip it real good. If you make it through this, you're on to the next level. And there's no end to this level. It just ends. Arbitrarily ends at a certain point. You're on to the next level where you make it to the end of the train. So you got started. You're on the end of a train. You're on top of this train. So again, like Phil, controls are the same here, but you must jump over giraffe heads and rhino horns and beat up some bandits as well. It's kind of it. Again, you don't actually get anywhere. It just stops.
Just get to the end of train.
But don't you get to? There's no engine. It just goes. No. You don't get to the engine or anything. It just stops.
It just goes down 6 or 7 carriages and you're done.
Yeah, well done. You've reached the end of this level. Well done.
You've reached first class.
Yeah, enjoy your trip. Complete this, and you've got to use for the next level, you have to use the manual's code key. And we'll put a link to the manual in the show notes if you want to try it. It's basically, you've got to enter the right door. You've got about 6 or 7 doors that you can enter, and they've got dates across the top, which are in hieroglyphics. And you have to find the right one that's on the back of the manual to go in the right one. Because if you go in the wrong one, it's preventing you from piracy and stuff. So you go in the right one and you can continue the game. Here, you must make your way through the catacombs under the library in Venice. I think they're in Venice. I'm going to come to why I'm not sure in a moment. In your quest to find this, because you do, it's in Venice, isn't it? You're in Venice. So it's in the film.
It's in Venice, yes.
It's in Venice, right? In your quest to find the shield of the Grail Knight. That's what you've got to find here. So you have to find these bits. Yeah. This is another platforming section with more ropes and the like, and scurrying rats and dropping fireballs to avoid as you make your way through the maze-like level. After finding the shield, you make your way up Castle Brunwald in Germany.
This level just continues. Old walk.
It just doesn't stop. This is the same level. You're just suddenly in Germany, can't get into the top of Castle Brunwald. I don't know how you got there.
That's a long trip, isn't it?
I don't know. And here you need to use your whip to swing across certain gaps as well as climb up trellises and so on and so forth. It's another climbing thing. It's like Batman. Very much like Batman this. Do this and you get to the airship level, where you must navigate the interior and find Indy's father's Grail diary. Henry. It's Henry's father's name, isn't it? Yeah, Henry. You got to find Henry's Grail diary before making your way to the bottom of the ship and escaping. There's no actual indication of where you got to get to. In fact, I got to the end before I found the Grail thing. I was just stood there at the bottom going, why am I down in this bottom bit? There's nothing here. There's no indication. This game does not indicate where you have to go very well.
No.
There are Nazi guards patrolling, and you need to find passes, or the alarm will go off, which will not hinder you in any way. And it's really stupid because like you carry these passes. It's like in 1938 or whenever this is set, Germany. They've got like advanced scanning techniques.
I know.
To scan these passes, or the Achtung signs light up red. Like it's like the U2 album No One Wanted. So the fifth and final level sees Indy making his way through the Temple of the Grail in order to find the Grail to heal his father who's been shot. The view here changes to a pseudo 3D view, sort of similar to Staff of Karnath, games like that.
Mm-hmm.
And the controls change from up. You don't use up to jump here. You use fire to jump because you need up and down to navigate the 3D view. You make your way through this. There's not much here. You basically go from left to right, jumping over gaps, very small gaps. You make your way through this. There's some spinning blades, which are the weakest spinning blades ever. It's like these spinning blades going up and down, going blah, blah, back and forth. And they don't do anything. They're just pointless. You're making sure to spell Jehovah with an I, of course. So it's Jehovah because in the I can't remember in Latin or whatever it starts with an I. Well done. That's it. You saved your dad. You can ride off into the sunset, and again, just like Batman, you get some lines of text to tell you you've done it. The layout of the game in each section is the same. The game window taking up just over half the screen at the top, and the UI showing your score, health, number of whip cracks left, and items collected at the bottom. And there's also I'm going to say a digitized picture of Indy in the bottom right in yellow, but I'm not sure.
You've been a bit generous.
I mean, it's obviously it's mirroring the Amiga version, but it's been spectrumed and it doesn't look good.
No.
So that's the game. Okay, that's your game. The manual's really weird, and at the front page of the manual is the story of Henry going looking for something, and then there's an article by Marcus Brody on stuff. It's a really weird manual. I don't know. The game kind of follows the plot of the film, taking inspiration for each level from a part of the film. So the beginning sequence is where you're in the caves as the Boy Scout, finding the Cross Coronado, and then you're on the train. Then you obviously go through Venice and Castle Brunwald and the airship, and then the finding the Grail at the end. Yeah, okay, follows the game. Let's start at the beginning, right? The beginning, I don't remember the music in the film having a jaunty counterpoint behind it.
No, something's gone horribly wrong.
And this actually made me question whether I just remembered the music from the first film, and maybe for Last Crusade, John Williams had added one, and I just wiped it from my memory. No, that's not the case. I don't understand why you do this. Why would you muck around with an iconic tune? If you're going to, this is, the monkey's paw is just about to punch me. Because we've said use the music. Yeah, we will do. But we're going to put a do behind it. Yeah. No, it's just dun, 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 dun.
Yeah.
And if you listen behind dun, 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 all it's doing in the background is going dun, 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 dun. Because that's the tune. That's all you need. It's like two voices.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't understand. So they've obviously thought, we've got a third voice. Yeah.
I'm going to use it.
You are. Badly. I don't understand. It's also present in the Amiga version as well, because I checked that out as well. But not the Game Boy version. I just checked another version. I checked the Game Boy version. That's got music by Mark Cooksey. Yeah, and that doesn't have. That's got actually a really decent version of the music in the Game Boy version by Mark Cooksey. It's good.
Doesn't surprise me.
So this music and the crap title screen, as you noted, and I'm going to nick it off you, this started to have the whiff of Aldiana Jones from the very start. I was like, oh, this little Diana Jones. It's like, this looks good. So we get into the game. There's no music, none, just sound effects. It's not like the Indiana Jones films are not known for their music or anything. We could have had that.
Care about that?
Who would care? So just do away with it. It wouldn't be so bad if not for those sound effects. Here we've got another clumper of a walker.
Just
a clumper. Clumper, as Indy clumps his way around the mazes and platforms and trains, his massive clumpy shoes, and the crack of the whip is like, it's all wrong.
It's all gone wrong.
It's all gone wrong. Clump, clump, clump. Give me some music. The visuals are a mishmash and really don't work very well together.
No.
The one thing I like about the game, apart from that sort of jumping, I quite like the Indy sprite. It's all right.
Yeah.
The Indy sprite is okay. Yeah. However, why is he not a Boy Scout in the first two levels like in the film? It's adult Indy. In the review he is in the Amiga version. In the Zapped review, they say it's the same sprite for memory reasons. It's a multi-load.
And it would be smaller.
It's a multi-load game. So surely that sprite could have been swapped out when loading from level to level.
Yeah.
I don't get it. Why? And they said, you can tell this thing because he's got sideburns or something, or mutton chop. It's like, don't give me that. It's the adult indie sprite. They just haven't changed it.
He didn't
Rubbish.
have mutton chops. He doesn't have them anyway.
No, the sprite reminded me of the one we saw in Tusker a bit. It's fairly well drawn in medium res, good definition animation. And I like the way he turns to look out the screen if you leave him alone.
Yeah, little touches.
The indie sprite is the one redeeming feature. But then we come to the background. Gone are those multicolour backdrops we saw in the preview. And in come high-res single-colour character graphics, which don't look good. I'm not a fan of these kind of backdrops. They just remind me of Spectrum games, which is not what I want from the C64. And to clash them with medium-res sprites just make it... It's just all wrong. It doesn't look good. They've not been blended well. And then we've got the Native Americans climbing up and down the ropes, which have also been done with single-colour high-res sprites or characters for some reason, so we start to get colour clash.
Just wrong.
Colour clash on the C64. You've got to work hard to manage that.
You do.
That's not easy. The giraffe looks weird. It's just a head. You can see it's just a head. It's got no body behind the boards. And the firebombs in the catacombs look like Christmas baubles.
Yeah, they do.
They're just dropping from the ceiling. It's just tapped by Christmas baubles. And then we have the speed of this game. It's a slow and clumpy game.
It's clumpy.
Slow and clumpy. Oddly, the speed of this was praised in the review because in comparison to the Amiga version, this is faster, which is true, but still slow.
Oh my gosh.
If I travel at 10 miles per hour, I'm going faster than someone at 5 miles per hour, but we're still going slow.
Yeah.
So this is slow, you know. Compare this to something like Monty on the Run, which was years ago now. And this is, like I said, I'm just going to keep using the word because I like it. It's a proper clumper. It's a clumper.
It is a clumper. It is.
Then we had the lack of action in what is labelled the action game. When you call your game the action game, you better have action in it. There is no action. There is no action. Isn't. Every now and then you'll need to whip or punch someone and watch them flash white and disappear.
Yeah.
That's it. That's all that happens. Or you may have to jump over a giraffe as it slowly raises and lowers its head. Or you may need to jump from I to E, and so on as you spell Jehovah. That's it. There's no action here, just a ploddy clumper as you clump around some locations to find an item and then make your way to the arbitrary end of level. The lack of action here is the real killer. Where is the tank chase?
Yeah. It's kind of a key bit.
One of the greatest action scenes in films. Where is it? So we've made this Indie the action game. You got the tank bit in there? No, we've got
it's too much. That'd be too much action.
No, we've got the wandering around the cave bit at the beginning.
Which he doesn't do.
Which he doesn't do. Why is that big Indy? He's young Indy. You can tell he's young. Look, he's got different hair. He's in the same clothes.
You've got to check the sideburns. He's got, it's always about the sideburns.
Where's the tank chase? Where's the motorbike chase when escaping the castle?
See, it's too much action.
Yeah. Where's the speedboat chase out of Venice?
Yeah. Where's the Venice fire chase? Yeah.
There's loads of decent action scenes for this film. It's an Indiana Jones film.
The airship.
The airship fight. Yeah. The run along the beach and stuff. The aeroplane down the... Yeah, where is it? Why am I grown up indie at the start? Why do I just run along the train? And where's the bloody music, which would have helped to give the game some atmosphere? We saw License to Kill make a decent stab at translating the action scenes from that film into an 8-bit game. But here, somebody's gone for the most basic of game design decisions, just like we've seen in Batman, and then somebody else has slapped the action game on it, and no one has spoken to each other, and it's been released, and it's just boring. Someone said, make an indie game, put it on. Yeah, it's the action game. No! It's like the bit in the advert where, he turns the light switch on just as it's full of gas. No.
Yeah.
The boring, ploddy clumper. Maybe if Indy could have ran at some point to add some speed. What a mistake. Indiana Jones. Boring. Boring. Sod off Hollywood. What did you think?
Well, I have to agree. I mean, I've made very similar notes, copious similar notes. So, firstly, what annoyed me initially was just calling it Indie, the action game. So, it's Indiana Jones, damn it.
Yeah.
No, it's Indiana Jones. Call it Indiana Jones and just give it a proper name. Give it a proper Indiana Jones. It could be Indiana Jones and the Heavy Shoes of Doom in this game. He has got heavy shoes on, hasn't he? Lead shoes. Thump, 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 lead shoes.
Indiana Jones and the quiet lack of action.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I've watched all the Indiana Jones films. I've never really noticed if he wore orthopedic shoes, but I'm guessing he probably did.
Must do.
Maybe he must have had like an arch correction needed because he is clumping around this thing. He seems to find it hard to jump properly. Doesn't always seem to want to jump at an angle, does he?
No.
Jump up or jump to the right, but never diagonal. Indiana Jones can do that. I'm pretty sure I've seen him jump at angles. It's just like, imagine in the film if you went to like climb up something daring and he's like, sorry, I can only go up or forward. Can't go over that. You know Indiana Jones.
The beginning of Raiders of the Lost Ark where he runs and jumps over the pit to grab it, as the ball comes rolling down.
He wouldn't be able to do that.
No,
yeah,
none of that.
It just It just go upwards. Just get to the edge and just jump straight upwards and land again. Oh, sorry.
It'd just clump off and he wouldn't run.
No, there is no running in this. He controlled like a lump of lead, didn't he? It was like lumpy Anna Jones trying to hoy his heavy. What was he carrying that was so heavy? The whip seemed completely meaningless in this game. I mean, I know you only get 5 goes, but it was completely meaningless. It's arbitrary. It's like the whip is a key thing. I mean, it's a key thing.
Like the torches.
Yeah, his hat and his whip. I mean, if you put a picture of the hat and a whip on the ground and took it in the right angle, you wouldn't even need to put the words Indiana Jones on it. People would just assume it was Indiana Jones.
Yes.
That's absolutely how powerful that iconography is. But you can, just avoid that. Just skip that. You don't need to do that. So the whip seemed meaningless. The progression was just stupid. It made me laugh. I was like, oh, okay, end of level.
Yep.
All right, okay. I'm not sure I did anything.
No.
Just kind of wandered around for a bit, end of level. Yep. Wandering across a train, end of level. Avoid the giraffe with no body and the rhino horn with no head. I was just like, all right. You didn't really think about this, did you?
Nope.
I mean, it's just so crap and so badly done. We've seen games where you've got trains going past, and they've been quite good. Those ones with the cowboys and that were quite good. They had a train on it.
It was, a train or trucks. Things moving fast. We've seen good. That was the best bit of that Dragon Ninja thing. There was
Dragon Ninja did it. No, we've seen this kind of thing done, and so it can be done. So it's not like it's insurmountable. And I'm not buying all this. So we ran out of memory for a young Indiana Jones sprite. Sod off. It's my response to that. No, he didn't. You bloody liars. This shouts lack of effort. So just thoughtless design. I mean, like I agree with you. The Indiana Jones sprite, okay, passable. But the backgrounds, I mean, come on. Come on. Yeah. Did he not show up for the rest of it, somebody? The Indiana Jones sprite guy came on Monday and he's like, all right, done for the week. See you later. Where's background guy? Oh, background Dave. I don't know when he's coming. Has he not been here? He should have been here by now. So you end up with, and this reminded me of when we had a student game and we had some students that tried to recreate the game of Gauntlet.
Oh, God.
And their it reminds me of the backgrounds they made for that. And I was just like, I remember having the same conversation going, these backgrounds have got no effort in them, have they? You've really not really taken any time with that. That's a bookcase, is it? Right. So same problem here. No effort, no thought, no passion, no nothing. This is supposed to be Indiana Jones. It's just dull-looking platforms, dull-looking, badly jumping across things. And I've made the exact same point you made. Where's the action? Every action scene is the one you've avoided. This is the lack of action game.
Inaction game.
This is the inaction game. This is Indiana Jones and the bits you couldn't give a shit about. The in-between. These are the bits in between.
Everyone wanted that great toy, Inaction Man.
Exactly, yeah. So are we going to put this scene in with the tank? No, we're going to put the scene just after that where you're wandering around looking for stuff. Oh, it's not as exciting as the tank bit. No, we can't do that. Can't do the tank bit. But they managed it for that License to Kill game where they're giant trucks going upwards and you had to do, and that could have been done that way, couldn't it?
Yeah.
No. That's way too difficult. We've got the memory for that. We haven't got the memory for a young Indiana Jones sprite, for goodness sake. Sweet. You've no idea what you're talking about. So Thumpy Indiana and the Heavy Shoes of Doom is what you end up trying to play. And that is exactly as interesting and as fun as it sounds. Watching Indiana Jones clump and plot and slam his way around with heavy feet, it just makes your heart sink when you think think of the film and look at that and think, what are you doing? What are you doing? You don't care, because this is the same as I've just said about Batman and the same problem we had with Tom and Jerry and a whole bunch of other licensed games. They don't care. And because they don't care, it comes out of every pore of this game, every orifice where something can spew out, it comes. And what you end up with is a game that's coughed up into nonsense, coughed up out of thoughtlessness into a nonsense piece of rubbish. This got 72%. How? How did this get 72%? This for me, I would be putting this in the low 20s. And that's only because of the Indiana Jones sprite and because the fact that he had really lead and heavy shoes made me laugh out loud. I'm giving it extra credit for heavy shoes. That's something I never thought anyone would do to Indiana Jones.
Like
Fair play for that.
His Bart's shoes, isn't it, when he has to correct his posture?
Yeah, his orthopedic shoes. Yeah, my voice loves this spray. Oh, gee, lady. Did someone pray for giant shoes? Because he flicks them through Flanders' window, doesn't he? No, the TLDR, don't play this because it's rubbish. And I'm just glad they didn't actually use the full words Indiana Jones, because it's not. This is Indiana's shoes. Oh, this is Aldiana. This is nothing to do with Indiana Jones. This is his heavy-shoed brother. It's like Batman's brother was in the other one. This is Indiana Jones' orthopedic-shoed brother. He was, was a bit heavy-footed. This ain't no Indiana Jones game I want to play ever again, and it should never have scored this highly in Zap. I don't know how much cash was in that envelope, but it wouldn't have been enough for me to swing my head. I'm sorry, this is garbage. So no, nonsense. Please go away, Indiana Jones. Please, not the film. Love the films. Hate the game. Rubbish. Why did they never get this right?
Just don't know.
Why?
I don't
Why?
know. I honestly don't know. But not last time. Clumpy.
Yeah, and the other thing, by the way, the final, just on that giraffe, that stupid giraffe, because it had no body, fair enough, but it was also really short-necked. It's a short-necked giraffe. A short-necked giraffe is a horse. Stupid rubbish.
And a horn without a rhino is just a horn.
And well, the thing is, right, either the giraffe was really short or the rhino was really tall, because they were both poking their heads through them train carriages, and train carriages are well over like 6, they're over 6 foot high, aren't they? They've got,
Well, the rhino does do it in the film, doesn't he?
Yeah, but I'm guessing he stands on maybe he stands on the giraffe.
He just rose his head up, I think, in the film.
Yeah. He's poking his horn through.
I think it's a smaller carriage, though. The thing this game doesn't really do.
I think there's no point in trying to justify anything with this game. They never thought of any of that. They were like, there's a rhino in it, pop a horn sprite in that.
Yeah.
All right, just draw it in 2 seconds. There we go, horn sprite done. What about the rest of it? Nah.
Yeah, no, it's not.
Could be any horned creature. It could be a unicorn in there for difference it made.
Who cares? Yeah, it could be anything.
Who cares?
Oh, dreadful. That's not a good trip to Hollywood. Somebody has besmirched the Hollywood sign. There's a terrible
walk
thing
of
to
shame.
It. Absolutely, yeah. Let's take a break because we need it after that. After those two, long reviews, but only two of them. We're going to take a break. We'll be back in a little bit where we're going to get into some music for November 1989. See you in a bit. And we're back. So let's listen to some music from November 1989. And we'll start with the number one singles. For the first 2 weeks of the month, it was All Around the World by Lisa Stansfield.
Yeah, we said last time, I like this. I think she's a good singer. This was a very popular song. You don't like it? That's all good. All good.
Yeah, popular. It was very popular, wasn't it? Not for me.
Yeah, huge. Huge release.
I probably do prefer it to what was number one for the final 2 weeks of the month, though, which was You Got It, The Right Stuff by New Kids on the Block.
Yeah, right stuff. Ooh.
No video should start with a gurning, mulleted scarecrow.
That wasn't the review they were hoping for.
It was my first note on this, and it was the only note I made because I hate this song, but it's just awful at beginning. Ugh, awful.
It reminded me of at the beginning of the marionette sequence from The Sound of Music. So they look like the marionette puppets dancing about. It looked like that. So
yeah, you're probably not
wrong. Terrible.
Number one albums, first 3 weeks, it was The Road to Hell.
Yeah, that's his 10th studio album, believe it or not.
The Road to Hell's got, is this got Driving Home for Christmas? Has this got that on it?
I don't know if that's on it. You'd have to check the listings. It's definitely got Road to Hell on it.
It's got The Road to Hell. And The Road to Hell was quite popular, wasn't it? So I can see why this was 3 weeks. But, and this is probably, November, maybe early dad present.
Yeah, it's the most popular studio album of Chris Rea's. So it performed quite well. So I imagine it did quite well at Christmas, which probably means it's got Driving Home for Christmas, gonna eat a lot of turkey. And that sort of thing. Probably not the official lyrics, but I'm just,
Or the official voice. He sounded like more someone from The Sopranos. Hey, I'm driving home for Christmas. I gotta eat a lot of turkey. Hey, Ma, put some turkey on. Oh.
I gotta hack up its hoof. Its hoof.
Its hoof. It's Jimmy Two Hoofs.
The hoof. So that's how De Niro says hoof in it. In Goodfellas, he goes, I gotta hack up the hoof. The hoof.
Oof.
Yeah, the hoof.
These shoes.
These shoes, the hoof.
These shoes, the hoof. You got this hoof and these shoes.
These shoes on the hoof. On the hoof.
You got this hoof and these shoes.
They call me Jimmy 2 times with the hoofs. I think we're diversed massively.
Yeah. Ma, where's my turkey?
The 1,000 Irishmen have cried out in pain.
And then was silent.
And they were silent.
For the final week, But Seriously, by Phil Collins.
That's the most pretentious album title of all time. ...
But seriously, yeah.
Yeah.
Let's not talk. I can't be bothered with it.
No, it's his fourth solo album. Who cares?
Yeah, I didn't. A lot of people did, though, because it sold a lot, didn't it? It was number one for a while.
Yeah.
Singles for the 5th of November, in at number 25 was Don't Know Much by Linda Ronstadt and Aaron Neville. Probably not someone you want to admit.
No, it's the most popular version of that version of the song, because it's been around a while. That topped the Irish single charts, that did.
Did it?
Yeah, 1,000 Irish people just cried out in pain and then went silent.
Absolutely.
But it's true, it did.
Totes emotes.
It is totally emotion, it's totally emotion, yeah. But it is the song you think it is. I don't know much, but I know I love you. That's that.
It's that one.
You know, only with Linda Ronstadt singing. I always thought Ronstadt was kind of a dial on a radio. Turn the Ronstadt, the signal's gone a bit weak.
I thought it was one of those sort of makers of crap you see in stores. The Ronstadt air purifier.
There was Ronco, wasn't there?
Yeah, that's it.
The Ronco record cleaner.
Yeah, the Ronstadt lint remover.
There'd be the Ronstadt waterproof headphones for when you need to listen to music in the shower.
That's the one. The first image would be someone in the shower and they'll get electrocuted or they'll blow up or something. But,
You can wash your hair in them with its waterproof band.
Absolutely. And there will be no embarrassment. In at number 33 is Golden Green by the Wonder Stuff.
Scruff rock, innit? I think did you say it was these the Dogs on Strings? The Dogs on Strings guys, is it them?
No, that was that's the Grebos, isn't it? That's the Grebos. Yeah, but this is verging on the Levelers.
I can't keep up with it. Was it the Levelers with Dogs on Strings or the Wonder Stuff was Dog? Because one of them you said, it's Dogs on Strings, Levelers. And then, are these shoegazers? I lose track of who's doing what now.
No, this isn't shoegazers. This is the Grebo lot. These are the Dogs on Strings.
Oh, these are Grebos, right?
But these are a bit more indie. These are the indie Grebos. So they've got cats on strings.
I'm getting a proper Gangs of New York vibe from all of this.
You know, I lived through this. This was my teenage years. You had to know your gangs.
When it goes around the gangs in like Gangs of New York, it's like, we're the Lucky Rabbits, we're the Green Angels. And it's like, the Indie Grebos.
Yeah, it's more like the bit in Anchorman, if I'm perfectly honest. It's a fight in the car park.
So I didn't think much to the song, I have to say. I didn't think it was very good. But.
No, it's not. It's not one of those that I particularly like.
Weirdly, at the start of that video, it says this was the unstretched version. What does that mean?
Well, the other one, like Miles Hunt, was well stretched. An unstretched, well stretched Miles Hunt. That's a horribly Cockney rhyming slang. Oh my lord!
Wow, that make your eyes water. Goodness! Wow. Okay.
I do apologise for that, listeners. It was completely unintentional, but there you go. That is often the case.
It's beginning to look a lot like Christmas.
It was Christmas. We had a good run.
1,000 Irishmen have just cried out again.
1,000 listeners have left.
Come back.
Because if you come back, then at number 46 is "Come On to Dire Adieu" by Jimmy Somerville.
You got to say it in
Miles Kingston. That was my best French accent.
It's not the French accent. You've got to sing it in the dog whistle that he sings it in. He sings it so high pitched that it makes dogs go, huh? It's like, no, it's like so high pitched, it's ridiculous.
I couldn't make head or tails of this song.
Did you watch the video? His dance modes are fully engaged in every mode. He's like,
all of them.
Pop, his sideways shuffle, he's practicing all of them. I was like, wow.
He's done it because it's coming. It's Christmas sort of thing. It's like he's in the shop window when someone's just got it on shuffle, doing all the modes that it can possibly do.
He's in demo mode.
Somerville demo mode. Yeah.
Oh God! Find his button. Someone's put him in demo, and he'll be dancing for hours till his battery runs out.
He can't stop. He'll do giddy bop into something else.
Who switched his language to French? For God's sake, we're never going to find that. To be able to put it back, we don't know how to reset that. It's a horrible naff house arrangement of that track, though. Bon Tempi House. That was never a good thing.
No, it's a rear projection nightmare as well. Parts of this.
The video's so bad. Stop rear projecting. Stop it.
Just stop it. And at number 48 is Angelia by Richard Marx.
Yeah, his hair is out of control. It's in control, I think, but it's out of control.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't realise hair could get that high. Wow.
That's massive meatballing.
It's the biggest meatball I think we've seen since the Golden Meatball.
Yeah. When we found out that legend was true, yeah. I think Campbell sued him for copyright infringement.
Well, either that or he is, like we said, he is Willie Campbell. That's his alter ego. We found him. He left all the little lumper, the little meatball lumpers. He left them in Lumperland, and then he's gone off to do a recording career. Well, that's nice, but you left them all. They need guidance. You can't just leave people in the factory unattended.
Absolutely.
Disastrous outcome.
Happen.
And they did happen. Get back to the factory, Richard Marx, and sort the meatballs out. That took a weird narrative twist, I'll grant you. But okay, let's just keep on trucking.
Let's just keep going. In at number 52 is This Old Heart of Mine featuring Ronald Isley by Rod Stewart featuring Ronald Isley or Isley. I don't know how you pronounce it. Is it Isley?
Isley, I think it is. Ridiculously hot women in that video. Okay, there are 3 of them.
There are,
very, and I'm just going to, I'm putting this in for brown sauce right now because Gary, Just go and watch that video right now. Because I'm just saying, and you'll know why. But more importantly than that, Rod Stewart growls into the frame in this, and he's got massive hair. I didn't realise his hair had got as big as that. It's too big.
So he can put his bigger height on his Tinder profile.
It must be. I mean, whoever backlit him is probably living out the rest of their life in a pain amplifier for that. Because as soon as he saw that video, he's like, right, in there you go, get in. Yeah, that's what happens. Backlight my hair, will you?
Yeah, you Spaniard me.
He's Mania.
Oh, Mania, Spaniard and Mania.
They can never meet. They're like the Keymaster and the Gatekeeper in Ghostbusters. They can never meet. Spaniard and Rod Stewart can never be in the same space.
No, I was thinking it's more like, what's the Hancock, where the two gods can never get near each other.
They can't, because there'd be a manionic explosion, and that's the last thing we need. And the hair shoots out like porcupine darts. It'd kill everyone in a 1,000-mile radius. We can't allow that to happen.
Unpleasant for anyone. Only thing that can stop it is the Horn of Hadley.
Yes, and we've got. It's like he's kept in a sealed container until eventuality might happen. You just have to break the glass and let him out.
Break glass for Hadley.
The emergency Hadley. Break the glass, for God's sake, break it. We need him. Someone mixed up the invites, and we've got Spaniard and Stewart on the same boat. The Manu and the Spaniard are here, for God's sake. This is critical.
Oh dear. Number 59, Tainted Love by Impedance.
Crappy dance thing.
The vocals sounded like Tricky or Massive Attack to me.
Yeah, totally that vibe. I'm just not quite sure what it's trying to be, and it didn't quite work. It's sort of, and there's so many remixes, it's almost impossible to know what the original is, but none of them were very good. That's what I thought.
Number 62 is Whole Lot of Trouble by Stevie Nicks. Not very good, was it? No, I didn't like it either. Bit rubbish. She
sort of sings like a wasp would sing. So, and she just does. I don't know. Did she prior to being Stevie Nicks' solo artist, did she have an amazing voice or something? All the hearing is kind of.
Yeah, you think of all the Fleetwood Mac stuff. You think of things like Rumours and all that kind of stuff, and
maybe she just drank too much Raid or something. But she just gone all waspy.
Yeah, it's not good.
But not a very good song, that. No.
Number 81 is Space Gladiator by Renegade Soundwave.
The Aldi in excess.
Yeah, are those Amiga visuals in the video in the background?
It did look like it, didn't it? Yeah. I think they probably were. Or at least it's 16-bit, something.
I don't think there'd have been, because NES and Mega Drive went out by now, so it's either Amiga or ST or something.
It'd be Amiga or ST, yeah. It'd be probably Amiga. There's a lot of that sort of crap going around at the time. Yeah.
12th of November, at number 12, we had Infinite Dreams live by Iron Maiden.
Yeah, sweaty. So sweaty.
So sweaty. And the bass is so clacky as ever, and the rhythm changes are as rubbish as ever. Clacky, rubbish rhythm changes. This just Iron Maiden song. Well done. Clacky.
Yeah, I mean, Subtlety and Iron Maiden, not really compatible.
It's like at the beginning. He's got that, it's trying to be something. In the background, all you can hear is clack, clack.
Yeah, it's clumpy. He's back.
Clumpy basser.
Yeah, clumpy bass. He's just got in there. He clumps around, clacks his bass. He's clumpy and clacky. It's not. And that's Iron Maiden, though, isn't it? That is bass player. Clearly writes all the songs, and he does. We know that.
He mixes them all, doesn't he? Yeah, he's a man producer.
No kidding, he does. And he's like, I think the bass needs to be a bit louder in that one. Well, we've already got it. It's like at the top of the thing. It can't go anywhere. Oh, we'll have to lower everybody else then. Oh.
Yeah. I'll just put an extra groove in with my knife so I can push it further.
Can you get another microphone? I need to record the clack. All right, you weirdo. Okay, we'll try to avoid that, really.
So on this 48-track mixer, 45 of the tracks are your bass. Yeah, you're right. Let's make it 46.
He's renamed them. They're not tracks. They're the clacks. That's what he calls them on his mixer. I've got 3 tracks for you and 46 clacks for me. Did you say clack or track? I mean, we'll say that.
We'll just put the vocals and the drums in the same track. That'll be fine.
Now, about the clack. What? Did I say that?
At number 20 is Pacific State by 808 State.
Yeah, a bit of a big dancey hit for 808 State. 808 State are obviously English electronic dance music group formed in Manchester, crazy Manchester. Took the name from the Roland TR-808 drum machine, obviously. Graham Macy, Martin Price and Gerald Simpson. They apparently became quite well known because of a version of New Order's Blue Monday, which was very popular at Hacienda in Manchester back in the old day.
There you go.
I'm not a big fan of this kind of meandering. I always thought it was a bit like meandering Dull House. It's a bit just feels like it's gone forever and nowhere goes nowhere. So
it's a 7 minutes track, so it's a track the DJ puts on to go for a piss.
yeah. It is, yeah.
It's literally that.
Just, all the tracks sort of have the same kind of trumpets and just bad strings and just, wandery. No.
Yeah. Number 24 is Homely Girl by UB40.
Yeah, it's nice to see them adopting such subtle sexual overtones in their videos by having, 6 or 7 bottoms at the beginning of it, terrible lyrics, and the cultural appropriation is at its peak here, considering the song that it is. It's just asses and appropriation, which is probably the album it's from.
Probably. I just thought it was rancid.
It is rancid. It's not
Awful.
Nice. It's just, no.
I just didn't like it at all. What You Gonna Do? Number 28 is What You Gonna Do With My Lovin' by Inner City.
You won't like that.
I didn't. It was boring. Dreary and dull.
It's dreary even for them. It's Clubhouse aimed at the 90s, ritzy sort of, Peter 39 and Cleethorpes demographic. Very boring. A lot of the songs sounded like that. We've said it a couple of episodes ago that we knew a lot more of this was going to come. I surprised me with Inner City because they're normally pretty good, but this is on the back of another single. They're trying to sell another single because they're trying to sell another single. That's what they did, isn't it? This time when they pump them out like a factory.
Number 34 is I'm Not the Man I Used to Be by Fine Young Cannibals. Dreary honking.
Yeah, it is. It's mainly made up of the funky drummer James Brown sample, which is used in over 1,830 different songs, which shows you how derivative that song must actually be to use. It is for that sample. And it's just a short drum loop, which as soon as you hear it in that song at the beginning, you'll have say, oh, that one, because you'll have heard it in, potentially 1,000, nearly 2,000 other songs. Not great, that. Not great.
No. Number 35 is The Arms of Orion by Prince and Sheena Easton.
Yeah, from the Batman soundtrack, apparently. I don't remember it at all. But so it's that memorable.
Yeah, it's not great. It's not.
No,
great.
It's not. Not rubbish.
Number 39 is Sun King Edie, Ciao Baby by The Cult. Double A side probably or something.
It must be, yeah. Because we'd looked at Sun King before. Must be mini vampires in it.
Yeah, still at it. Number 44 is Woman in Chains by Tears for Fears.
Moody, isn't it? That one? Moody.
This is not what you want as a follow-up to Seeds of Love.
No, he sounds like the singer from Foreigner in that as well. It sounds like I Want to Know What Love Is kind of singing to me.
Yeah, it's not great.
No.
Number 48 is Youth Gone Wild by Skid Row.
God, this thing. I mean, I think they're just late. Had this been released 6 years earlier, maybe 5 years earlier, this would have been a lot more, they're still a big band, don't get me wrong, but just every video cliche of this kind of rock band is going to be in there. It feels like hair metal is just at the end of its life here, and these are the last sort of grips of a dying sort of genre.
Yeah,
there's still a little bit of life here and there. Aerosmith throwing a few things in, I know, but this kind of Skid Row sound is very much Motley Crue 5 years ago, and Guns N' Roses 5 years ago, and a few other bands 5 years ago. It's just doesn't sound very nearly 1990. So
no, it doesn't. There's so much flinging of hair and ripped jeans as well in that video.
That's what I mean. It's dated badly, and it's released in 1989. It's dated badly for then, and even in that era, it's just not very good.
Number 53 is With Every Beat of My Heart by Taylor Dane. This was a bad track. You noted it as well. It sounds like Saw, and you're right.
Yeah.
That keyboard sound was really weak. Like
awful.
I couldn't even call it stabby trumpets.
No.
Not good at all.
It was rubbish. They dressed her up like Paula Abdul for some reason. She's a attractive looking lady, no doubt. But there's all this, and this is very common, and there's so many of these videos you'll notice flick between blurry black and white and colour. It's a very much an en vogue video methodology. An easy way of making cheap videos look okay, bit of stylising. And there's lots of hair flicking. They're always flicking the hair about now. It's like become the thing they do, flicky hair. So much flickery hair in the late 80s, early 90s in the pop music. But this is weak. This is even for Saw, this is weak. So a weak Saw will eventually break.
Absolutely. Yeah. Number 59 is Hide Your Heart by Kiss.
Tied you something.
Gene Simmons is watching you there.
Oh, I spotted that image as well when I was watching the video. I was like, why is he just glowering all the time and miserable shit?
And holding his bass upside his head. That's a Kiss cliche. I looked if he'd got his tongue out at some point, but he didn't.
Well, he probably has. They just didn't film that bit, and they did, and they just didn't put it in. I mean, It sounds exactly like Kiss tracks of all this type. Apparently, it's a big anti-gang violence statement because there's a big text at the beginning saying, there are so many gangs in Los Angeles, blah, 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 blah. And then it's just like the whole video is belting nothing about that.
No, and then they just gave up with lyrics for the chorus. Where they just go to, hey, 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 do, 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 do. I can't remember the tune because it's not memorable. Take that, gang culture.
Yeah, that will solve all the problems.
Just sing vowel sounds at you.
Can you dig it? Yeah.
Meanwhile, away from the crap rock, we've got some really good rock because we've got number 77 is Janie's Got a Gun by Aerosmith.
This will go higher. It's an excellent song with a very poignant and strong message, an excellent video. Steve Tyler even opened up a Janie's House for Abused Women and Girls on the back of that song, and we can put lots of money into it. Still to this day, pretty amazing thing to do. It's a good song, that.
This is probably my favourite Aerosmith song. I think I might have said that when we looked at the chorus. It's just ace. It's just proper classic. The vocals, the way his vocals go up as he goes into the chorus, and I'm not going to do it because I can't do it. But you think he can't go any higher, like after about that third one, and then he goes, and it's just so pitch perfect. It's just so good, so good. And it's just got a really good structure to the song, and there's really good, like, look, Iron Maiden, this is how you do changes.
Subtlety, in
a
nuance.
Song. Yeah, it's just so good. Janie's Got Guns, an excellent song.
But then look at the look of the bands. Does Iron Maiden look nuanced to you? It's got studded elbow pads.
whereas they're up against a man made of scarves.
Yeah, exactly. He's just all scarf, that guy. You take them away, it's just a thin skeleton and just a head.
It did make me... that Janie's House for Abused Women and Girls, brilliant thing sort of thing, but it did make me laugh then where they cut one of his scarves to open it. I was like, made me chuckle.
That took away some of his power when they did that.
Yeah, it did. He can't hit that high F anymore.
You saw him, he winced. Then they cut it, he was like, because that's actually his hair.
Yeah, it's like Mick Jagger's all spaghetti.
And he's all scarf.
He's all scarf. That's what they are. Scarf and spaghetti. Yeah. Another good one, I think, number 79 is Free Fallin' by Tom Petty.
Yeah, a bit of a classic, isn't it, that, really?
Yeah.
Free Fallin', yeah.
Very simple, but there's a knack. Some people can just make what sounds so obvious work and not be annoying. And I think this one, it's very simple. It's very simple melodically, but I think it's got clever chorus and good song.
You can't write Tom Petty off. He's an incredibly good songwriter and performer, so all good stuff. And this is, it's the Tom Petty song I remember most of all, I think.
Yeah, when he's not moonlighting on the advert for Scotch videotapes.
He's a very skinny guy, isn't he?
He's the skeleton man. At number 80 is Bad Case of Loving You, Doctor by Robert Palmer.
I hated this. I didn't like it.
This video is just a showcase of. I mean, we don't say. I think I can't say it, but it's just clips from all his other videos, and so it's like, oh, he's always been sexist. He's always been misogynistically sexist in these videos. Yeah, all the time. Wow. Okay.
I mean, that's meant to be his shtick, isn't it? And that's how it's the Robert Palmer video, so it's going to have them women in it and all that, but it's just like, move on, mate. Come on. Even in the 90s, this was, people were choking on it. So it's the inherent sexism, as you've rightly labelled it there. People are choking on it even in the 90s. It's just, there's no place for it. But this is a cover of an old song, and it's not even very good. So no.
19th of November at number 13 is Fool's Gold, What the World is Waiting For by Stone Roses.
Is that a double A side again for some reason?
I think it probably is, yeah. I mean, this is all right. Fool's Gold's not one of my favourites. Again, it's one of those, I'd go get a drink. This came on when I was dancing.
Doom, doom, doodle-doodle-doodle-doom.
It's too shoegazy. This is too shoegazy, although it's probably not shoegazery, but it's that Manchester shoegazery. So it's that fringe down and long hair just bounding around your flares. Yeah. It's like, no, not for me.
No, it's definitely not for me.
No, I need their music to be a bit more upbeat and a bit, when they do the better, faster stuff.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I'll say this. I mean, I'm not going to be the one, looking at my shoes, dancing in my flares. I don't think I've ever done that, knowingly.
No, you haven't.
But the Stone Roses have become quite an interesting band for me because I overlooked them so gloriously back in the day, and I just completely like, no. And I think because it was a scene that they was part of, and I just had that scene just didn't have any attraction for me. Now that's all kind of disappeared, and we're looking back at these things with a kind of a different lens. I'm a bit older now, lens. I don't, feel the kind of revulsion. I'm starting to really see how good a band the Stone Roses actually were. I've been listening to a lot of their back catalogue, and like you said, these songs aren't necessarily the greatest Stone Roses songs by miles. They're not, but you can sort of see the what they are and what they represent is something quite unique, even back then. And so that's musically very interesting, I think.
I think you're right.
Not like the next one.
Unlike number 18, which is Ouija Board by Morrissey.
Yeah, no.
Pa to this song. Pa.
Yeah, and, songs about Ouija boards.
You found out some interesting stuff about Ouija boards, didn't you?
Yeah, because I know a lot of people think that Ouija boards are this kind of, don't mess with the Ouija board. It's connected to the spirit realm. And in actuality, all of that, we found it the 16th century Ouija board that was manhandled by, the great blah, blah. It's all bullshit, all of that. None of that's true. It was a board game that was made by a board game company in the early 19th century, or late 19th century, sorry.
Wow.
Sorry, yeah, the early 19th century was around the late 1800s, so yeah, 19th century. But anyway, that's all that spooky stuff that's been attributed to them in the films and all of the sliding thing that says, yes, are you there? And all that. That's all added later. That's all bullshit. None of that is actually. It was actually just a fun board game for shits and giggles.
Oh, there you go.
There you
I'm
go.
not scared of them anymore.
Don't be scared of them, but don't mess with Ouija boards because you'll summon a demon and it'll follow you around and kill you. Sorry.
Okay.
It's in the warning on the label.
Like Mandrake. At number 24 is Eve of the War, the Ben Lee brand remix by Jeff Wayne.
No.
It's a bit of an audio mess, this. That's the best way I could describe it.
It's a catastrophe. It's an abomination. Now, Bentley brand remixes, there's been good ones. We've come across loads. Bram Source mentioned that there was loads of them around this time because he was remixing everything but the kitchen sink. He should have left this well alone.
He should leave this well alone.
Well alone. He should. Harry Hatter over on 10th. He won't be very happy about this.
He will not.
He won't. I mean, Eve of the War is a classic track from War of the Worlds, from Jeff Wayne's War of the Worlds, which is one of my favourite albums, by the way, of all time. Just going to say that. And so I don't take kindly to it being, badly manhandled. And this is awful. I mean, the way they've just sampled it up and then chopped up the samples. It's just like, it's a great description. It is an audio mess. It's the Eton mess of music. Yeah. Nobody wants that. Nobody wants it.
Nobody wants that. Number 27 is Can't Shake the Feeling by Big Fun. Oh, God, this was so bad. So bad. They can't sing.
No.
They literally cannot sing.
Isn't it surprising that they released this and then nobody went to them and went, wow, you guys are shit.
You're not even pretty.
I mean, yeah. So they've kind of, they are the offcuts from Bros. All right, fair enough. They're the bits that are left over.
They've been stitched together.
But they're just as God made them. Okay, fair enough.
Frankenbros.
They're terrible singers. They can't sing in tune. They're singing so bad in that. And that, I mean, we'll put the video in the show notes. Go and watch it. You won't believe that that's an actual produced and released record because the
got
vocals
to number 27.
So awful. Yeah, and it got to number 27. And the dancing is equally bad and preposterous. It's so utterly bad as a package of stuff. The one thing it isn't is big fun.
No,
that's ironic.
It makes you pine for New Kids on the Block.
Yeah, it makes them look positively professional. Yeah, doesn't it?
Bring back the Gurney Scarecrow.
What was Stock Aitken and Whitman thinking when they released that? Well, I'll tell you what they were thinking.
Money.
Dollars, money. Yeah,
money.
Exactly.
Because it's going to... I mean, clearly this has just been hyped up in Smash Hits and Jackie and all those other magazines and those kind of things. And those magazines back then. And then it was just bought by
teenagers.
Girls, probably.
Yeah, the big tween market at the time, wasn't it? Very influenced by rubbish like this. Can't believe it, really.
In at number 30 is Manchester Rave On EP by the Happy Mondays.
Is that the first coined term of Manchester? Is that where it began in that?
First time we've seen it, but it's probably come out of, I'd imagine somewhere
Melody
like
Maker
Enemy or Melody Maker or something.
Right.
Probably the started to that phrase. Maybe the Happy Mondays coined it, but I've never heard that fact. I think it was just a
phrase. I mean, the one thing I'll say about that track is that the bass player could play, whoever that was.
Yeah.
The rest of them, not so sure about. I'm not so sure that they knew what they were doing or where they were when they made that, because it sounds like they're all doing different things.
Or who they were, yeah. It's an odd song.
But weirdly, when you listen to that song, right, the one thing that occurred to me was it's like a cacophony. And do you know when if you get like a Newton's cradle and you sort of try and do it out of sequence, and eventually, no matter what you do, it will eventually fall into a sequence. So just by chaos alone. Well, I think that's what happens with that song, because eventually the chaos and the matmos of fusion of sounds that come together eventually formulate into a sort of a Happy Monday sound. You're like, I can sort of hear it. Then it goes, it sort of goes back out again. Then
coalesces into order out of chaos.
Exactly. So there are parts in that where you can hear that Happy Mondays that becomes, you're twisting my melon, man. That Happy Mondays starts to shift in there a little bit, then it fades in and out. You can see where they were heading. It's quite interesting for that. Interesting.
It's kind of a bit in the middle of that. We looked at the other week.
So the next step. Yeah. Exactly that. Now, I'm not a fan of the Happy Mondays, but that makes that quite an interesting thing when you listen to it. So go and listen to it and see what you think.
Don't go listen to this, though. Well, you can do, but you've heard it because you've heard all the songs. Number 34 is Get On Your Feet by Gloria Estefan.
It sounds like he's like, oh, get up on your feet and do it.
The video is her fooling around, tomfoolery on the stage with her million band members.
That's the bill. Imagine the bar bill for them. Imagine the rider. So, right, how many members in your band so we can get the rider sorted out? 78. What? 70? Oh, is it an orchestra? No, it's just 78. He's the groove guy, he's the keyboard guy, he's the keyboard backup guy. We've got double bassist, Ken the double bass player, and the triple bass drummer. What? Who are these people? Doesn't matter. Give Tambourine Jack his money and he'll be happy. Who's Tambourine Jack? He's Bob Castanet's cousin. What? Who are these people?
And he wants 17 M&Ms, all brown.
And we haven't even brought in the machine. What machine? The Miami Sound machine. What's that? Is that a machine? No, it's people. That's Bob, Dave, Carolyn, McGuffin, Honkers.
It's like the Scooby-Doo mystery machine. They solve mysteries. They bugger off and they catch people.
You never play live here again, Estefan, ever.
Absolutely.
Can't afford you.
And we're putting the puppet show above you next time.
But there isn't enough room on the stage for the band.
Absolutely. This is a pub.
What do you mean you got 7 drum kits?
What do you mean you change your drum kit every song?
We change a drummer every song. They're on the queue just there. There they are. Ken, you're up. Oh, my time to shine. Right, off you go, Ken.
Off you go. Come on, Bob, you're up.
Where's Samba Joe? We need Samba Joe. Where is he? Oh,
It's his song.
Samba? Well, you need to be further up in the queue. Get past Bossing Over Ben. Oh, for God's sake.
And Scrapey Thing Harold.
Scrapey Harold. Look, you stand over there. Let Bossing Over Ben on the keyboard right now. Get him on the keys. For God's
Scrape
sake.
that thing.
Where's Twinkle? Twinkle, you need to be on the Twinkle. Oh, come on, guys. Are we a band or what? Are we a sound machine?
Where's Triangle Tina?
This is not a sound machine that I like to think of here. Pull it in, people. Pull it in.
In at number 71, speaking of pulling it in at number 71, When I See You Smile by Bad English.
Give that man a comb.
Yeah. I mean, I know when I watched this video, and set the rock band video cliche cannons to full power. When I play guitar, I never did any of those poses. I don't know what possesses you to do them. Why? You know, I picked up a guitar and not once did I ever feel like going anything like that. I mean, maybe that's why I was going wrong. Maybe I should have done.
Well,
maybe I'd have been a world famous guitarist now if I'd have pulled those poses.
They did release albums. We never did that. But then again, you know, had we had cameras pointed at us on a more regular basis, as opposed to the Identifit ones from Crime Watch, then we might have served us better.
Yeah, maybe. Oh dear, it's a rubbish song anyway. 26th of the 11th, 26th of November, the last week. In at number 30 is This Woman's Work by Kate Bush.
Yeah, we've said it before about Kate Bush. If you like Kate Bush, and this is good Kate Bush, though. I mean, she's
beautiful song.
Yeah,
it's absolutely beautiful. Again, like we said with Janie's Got a Gun, the build in this. It's
totally
just
true.
So good, you know.
Yep.
And it's a really sort of incredible song. I just love it. I think it's an amazing song.
It is. Part of the Bush resurgence at the moment, because Kate Bush songs are now vogue because of Stranger Things, and then another recent TV show had this song in it as the kind of finale as well, which was a real tearjerker. Yeah. Forget which one it was, but there's that many shows out there. It's perfect fodder for that, but it's good.
It's beautiful.
Good. Really
just
good.
A beautiful song.
Good album. Good album, that as well.
Number 34 is In Private by Dusty Springfield, which is where I wish we kept this song.
Rusty Spring Bucket is back. Not just Make It Stop as the strings, it has that synth string sound, which I hate.
Yeah.
Go and listen to it just for a short time and you'll hear that. And then the video for it, the cameraman is clearly visually impaired, which is okay. He's working with what he's got, but just focus the camera, you damn fool. Or get someone to do it for you. God.
There was a John Lewis advert on before this on YouTube, and I was watching it. It had a horrible Christmas music, and this song made me wish I had skipped it.
Yeah.
So I was like, bring back the advert. Bring it back.
YouTube adverts are the born in my otherwise happy YouTube life. But
they're a bane of my existence at the moment. I was watching, what was I watching? I just sat there last night and I was watching the Digital Foundry's Forza Motorsport versus Gran Turismo 7 video. It's like an hour long. So I just stuck it on. I was like, I watched that. There's like 10 adverts in it. Just stops. Yeah. And they don't place them anywhere. It's just in the middle of it. And so, as we can see in the tyres, it's like, oh, God.
And if they're unskippable, that's like a glove slap to me. I'm like, I'm almost willing to just not watch the video any further.
Now they've started putting timers on them as well. You can't skip them.
I know.
And it's this long, you got to wait.
Yeah, I'm just hovering over the close button going, I don't need to see this. I don't need the video. I can live it out. The choice I made.
Bloody YouTube. Number 43 is Full for Your Lovin', 1989 by Whitesnake.
Interesting. Obviously, this is a new version of the old song because they released Full for Your Lovin' in 1980 on the album that came out in 1980. So this is the 1989 version with all of it souped up crazy. Now, here's a thing I didn't know till recently, that when they recorded the album for this, and this includes this song, the guitarist in it is Steve Vai.
Yeah.
Because that's who they got in. And then when you think about it, you think, makes sense when you hear it with all the woo, doo, blah, 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 got all the guitar mastery on display, if you want to call it that. I still prefer the 1980 version. It's much better, and his vocal is way better.
It's way better. That 1980 original is much chunkier. It's got more. Yep. It's just better. It's more.
His vocal's better. His vocal's less gravelly and it's more clear. He's got such a good voice in the early 80s. It amazes me that they re-released them all with old gravel chops. I just don't get it. But
David Graveldale. As he became.
That's his brother. We've had a few brothers in today.
In at number 65 is House of Fire by Alice Cooper.
You mean House of Fire?
I do remember. I hadn't listened to this in years, but as soon as I heard this, I had a massive flashback to. I remember this being a huge crowd pleaser when I saw him live. And that was like 1989, 1990. But as soon as I heard it, I was like, I remember that chorus. It was just, I was like, yeah, okay. I remember the people going quite crazy.
Big theatrics on the stage, weren't there? With all the big fire explosions. And it is what it is, but it is, it's off the same cheesy album as Poison and all the others and Bed of Nails. So,
Bed of Nails, yeah. Number 84 is Come Home by James.
I didn't know what to make of this, really. Never really liked it anyway. It's not a James song I like, so...
Yeah, it's very of its time, isn't it? It's very of the like 1980s of that Manchester sort of that calm indie sort of soft indie stuff.
Yeah.
But it does show that I think it's better than most of the stuff like this. They're a better band. When they do these things, they're better.
Yeah, they are good.
Yeah. Finally, at number 93 is Don't Pray For Me by Little Angels.
Dreary, horrible nonsense. This another ballad, pre-Christmas ballad. Get lost and take your lighters with you and set them on. If you just do what you got to do with them. You've got hairspray on. You've got a lighter. You know what'll happen. Don't let me stop you.
No. All right, let's get to albums. Let's get through these. 5th of November, in at number 1 is The Road to Hell by Chris Rea.
We spoke about that.
Stopping it getting from number 1. In at number 2 is Holding Back the River by Wet, Wet, Wet.
Yeah. Did you see the official language for this is that it spawned the singles Sweet Surrender, Broke Away, Hold Back the River and Stay With Me. Spawned. That's the right word for it. Spawned.
Like miniature knee necks.
Well, do you know how they make the records? And this is a true fact.
Go on.
True. They get. You've seen the movie Gremlins, right? They get water and they drop it on the back of knee neck, and then these tiny little knee necks pop off him like little gremloids. I know they pop off. That's why they're called wet, wet, wet because that's the sound it makes when they fly off and splat. And then they spawn into new little mini versions of Marty Pello.
It's his 3 rules.
Wet, wet, or wet.
Don't get him wet. Don't get him wet. And don't get him
exactly.
wet.
Exactly. That's the 3 rules of Pello. That's how he creates little Pellos. So when people use the term "I'm singing a cappella," that's what he does. They're all born in different keys.
Mini Pellos. Sofa pillows.
Neck pillows.
Neck pillows,
There's all the different kinds, But anyway, so that's how they make little pillows. It's horrible, really, isn't it?
It really is.
Don't, for God's sake, feed him after midnight and do not get him wet, wet, wet. It's the last thing you need is, you don't want an army of pillows after you.
Mini pillows, no. That's not Christmas. In at number 9 is Stronger by Cliff Richard. Christmas is coming. Cliff Richard's got an album out.
29th album, Adrian.
I can't comment on that.
29 albums. Holy shit.
I can't comment on that. The man's immortal.
Don't comment on it. Do you know his real name is Harry Roger Webb? Harry Webb.
I do know that, yes.
And he's 83.
He is.
Happy birthday, Harry. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday. I don't think his birthday's today.
He can be whenever he wants.
He can be, yeah, true. In number 13 is Addictions Volume 1 by Robert Palmer.
No, thanks. No. It's the first volume of his mega releases. It's the volume 1 of his compilations. I'll sod off.
He just haunted a pigeon for me. 12th of November, in at number 3 is Journeyman by Eric Clapton.
11th solo studio album, heralded as the return to form for him, apparently. I didn't know he'd lost his form, but he battled with alcohol addiction and all sorts of stuff. And obviously, he's had a bit of a crazy, difficult life in many ways. I'm not a huge Clapton fan, are you?
Nah, Old Slow Hand does nothing for me.
No, I'm just, I get it, but it's not my thing. No, I do understand it. But.
Yeah, good guitarist, but not my kind of guitarist.
Yeah, he's good.
In at number 5 is Level Best by Level 42.
Yeah.
This is a compilation album featuring the most successful singles. There's 18 tracks on this.
I didn't know they'd had 18, in tracks that were any good.
Have we spoken about them 18 times?
I don't believe we have we?
I don't know.
We have. Maybe we have. The glonk is all powerful. So.
The glonk and the honk again this week.
There's another double act, you see. We used to have bloody Shaking Stevens and what's
Sam
her name?
Fox.
Sam Fox, and it was always the glonk and the honk.
The glonk and the honk.
They're
Honk
back.
and the glonk, the blank. Number 31 is Captain Swing, Michelle Shocked.
Not a thing I was into. That very weird.
Yeah. Number 36, Come Together as One by Will Downing.
It sounds like someone slowed down Rick Astley. That.
I could see that. Yeah, I could hear that.
If you listen, especially that track, if you listen to that track, close your eyes. It sounds like Rick Astley slowed down.
Yeah. Number 41 is After the Laughter by Freddie Starr. Christmas is coming.
Yeah, you could tell Christmas is around the corner here. Weird. He's channeling a shit Elvis, which is odd because he made a career out of doing a good Elvis impression.
Yeah, I suppose that
weird.
was, part of the cabaret of doing the Northern clubs as he was probably doing in the 70s and stuff.
Yeah, totally. And people loved Freddie Starr, and I get it. I can see, there was a time when he was very popular on TV and that.
Yeah.
I'm not sure this album would have won him any new fans, but, it might have serviced the fans he had.
Yeah, probably. Number 74 is Book of Days by the Psychedelic Furs.
It's a sixth studio album from them. I found these to be more and more an interesting band. I can't quite put my finger on it, but I listened to this album earlier today and it sort of piqued my curiosity a little bit. I was like, this is actually not quite what I expected. Quite interesting soundscapes.
No, the early stuff is quite poppy and stuff like this, but this was, I thought I got an almost Nephilim-esque.
Yeah, it was gothy, I thought. It had a gothy vibe. It did, it did.
Much more gothy than the other stuff here too. I might have to try. I found that there's one of their albums actually in the charity shop in the corner the other day for £1. I should have bought it. Might nip out tomorrow and get it.
You won't be able to because Gary will have heard that. He's already there.
Well, if you're listening, Brown Sauce, I bought 2 Clanad albums for £1 and they're worth about 60 quid on Discogs, so have that.
You bought 2 Clanad albums.
Not Clanad, sorry, Cocteau Twins.
Oh, I was going to say, 1,000 Irish people have just cried out in pain again.
And then they've gone quiet. No, Cocteau Twins. 2 Cocteau Twins.
Gary will be very jealous right now.
He will be. He'll be like, come to your shops. You stay away. You'd stay away, Wilson. You know what happened last time?
You'll be round your house in a minute. It's like that guy out of that movie, what's it called? The one with this guy that stabs people, the stabby movie. Stab.
Halloween?
Yeah, that'll do.
Friday the 13th?
Any of those.
Scream?
Yeah, Scream. That was the one I was thinking of. But they'll do.
We got there in the end. I know what you did last summer.
Yeah, I said stabby movie, and it was. Is it called? They actually
they
called the
remake
film
it
in the film. Yeah,
yeah, Stab. It's the it's the telling of it.
Stupid.
19th of November. In at number 5 is Decade by Duran Duran.
Greatest hits album by them with all the album. Actually, there's some good, interesting things about that. It's got some good remixes of stuff on it, which you don't normally get anywhere else. And some of their remixes are actually very good. So it's probably worth listening to for that. The Nile Rodgers edit of The Reflex, I listened to that earlier today as well. That was quite interesting. So some of those are quite curious.
Cool. Number 10 is Slip of the Tongue by Whitesnake.
This won it was the winner of the Spinal Tap Sexy Album Title of the Year award.
Such a fine line. Such a fine line.
It's such a fine line. So there you go. But there was some of the interesting facts we said before about the fact that it was guitarist Steve Vai was hoyed in to record the album in the studio, and so all of that flamboyant guitar playing, which was somebody in the band deemed inappropriate, and that they should have taken a more bluesy approach because that would have suited the album better, which is, I hate to say it, true. All of the guitar mastery, as I'm calling it, on there is unfortunately kind of what made it sound more like a David Lee Roth
Exactly.
album.
This is more Vice Snake than White Snake.
Very good. I like it.
There you go. In at number 17 is The Heart of Chicago by Chicago.
Do you know, have you seen how many albums Chicago have had out? There's like hundreds.
Yeah, they just keep going. They can't be stopped. They've got
just
another
call
one
them
today.
like Chicago 1, Chicago 2, Chicago 3. That's what they call them. Chicago 22, Chicago. There's loads of them.
Yeah, they're like buses. In at number 34 is Greatest Hits Live by Diana Ross.
Christmas is coming.
It really is. In at number 60 is Trust by Brother Beyond. Second album. Second! How did they get to that?
It's the second and final album. And then the great realization that without Stock Aitken and Waterman producing their album, and the album sunk like the Titanic, that they made the admission that they perhaps were a bit hasty in kicking them out of their production team. And it was a great mistake because they realized they needed Stock Aitken and Waterman. Sadly, they realized too late after Stock Aitken and Waterman said, fine, we'll leave you then. And that was the end of that. No more. So now they've got to just suffer the low polyism without everything else. That's it. Back to low polyism and, not being able to hold up your trousers.
Like Brother Be Gone.
Yeah, they are now. Yeah, they are. That was it.
26th of November was in at number 1 was But Seriously by Phil Collins, which we talked about. Number 2 is Affection by Lisa Stansfield.
Yeah, we said the single, a good album, if you like that kind of thing.
And finally, at number 49 is The Perfect Remedy by Status Quo.
19th studio album by them. And it marked a new low for the band, Adrian, reaching a high of only number 49 during a 2-week run.
Oh, dear.
Francis Rossi, Rick Parfitt, apparently, obviously, in their memoirs, Rossi said that it sold well in Europe and Australia, but they were back to square one in Britain. I don't know why it did so poorly. You could argue that the scene had moved on. I don't know.
The scene had moved on.
Looking at it.
20 years ago, the scene had moved on.
No, they're asking the question, why didn't this terrible album of derivative shit do very well? Can't think. Let me think.
Let me think. You've got albums like Rhythm Nation by Janet Jackson, completely redefining shit. And then you've got Status Quo plodding along with their ploddy rock. Yeah.
And I think we pointed out, actually, that now, sadly, Rick Parfitt has died, that then they're no longer the status quo. They can no longer support the status quo in the most pitch-perfect irony of all time. So
there you go. That's it for music. God only knows. But we're going to take a quick break and then we'll come back. We've got 2 more games after the break. 2 more. So
only 2.
Only 2 more. But will they be worth it? Stick around and find out. And we're back. We've left Hollywood behind us. The music is gone. It's down into Budget Alley because our final 2 games for this week are 2 budget games. And the first of those is Cosmic Pirate. The budget price of £2.99, Cosmic Pirate, is published by Bite Back. It's copyright Palace Software. Weird. But it's long gone.
Weird. I thought
this is developed by MC Lothlorien, kicking up those tunes down in Rivendell, and produced by Bite Back. This was coded by Mike Mannion, and the music is by Paul Tong. We've seen Mike Mannion before. He did that decidedly weird Frightmare, if you remember that.
Yes, I remember that.
And that goes kind of some way to explaining this game, I think, because it has a feel unlike many other games. It's an odd game, this is, an odd one. It feels different. There's weirdness to it. Anyway, Cosmic Pirate. This was originally an Amiga game, reviewed back in Zap in April 1989. It was full price too at 20 quid. So this budget, C64 budget remake, just 6 months later, or deport, or whatever you want to call it, on the C64, it feels an odd step. It's like, just port it, chug it out, who cares? The story is you are a space pirate and you're out hunting for space trucks in order to loot them for money to improve your craft. That's kind of it. There's not much story here. It's just go and loot stuff. When the game starts, you're met with a rather cold-looking interface that you need to navigate. So there's many stages to this game, so I'm just kind of explain the way through them. So there's a lot here. There's essentially a computer that you navigate in order to get to the main game. There are a number of options, all accessed via the number keys. But right now, the only one you'll need to access is number 3, simulators. Because you see, before you can go out on your merry pirating way, you must prove that you are a decent shot. And you do this by entering the simulators. Entering this menu gives you a further 10 options. One being exit. There's loads of options. It's options under options. It's like a Ringler design game. Except these options are kind of intuitive and they're all right.
They do make sense, yeah.
They make sense, so it's not so bad. You can exit back to the main menu, you can play a sim, or you can check on your pirate stats. Or you can then try the available 7 simulators that are on offer. You can only actually try the first 3, though, which are named Combat 1, Combat 2, and Combat 3, because they're free. You don't have any money at this point. You don't have any credits or anything. So the rest, which are Disasteroids, Space Sim, Planet Sim, and Truck Sim, all need money to enter. So you select one of the combat sims, and then you play it. And so what we have here is a fast-moving Vector 2D sim style, Vector 2D, style 360-degree blaster. You are a green wireframe circular ship, and you will soon be accosted by various aliens in either single or snake-like variants, depending on which combat, 1, 2, or 3, you have chosen.
Mm-hmm.
Controls are simple. You've got 8-way movement. It's not turn and thingy, so it's actually just point in the direction you want to go and you'll go that way. So it's kind of like that. And it's fire to shoot. Dead simple. At the top of the screen, the UI has your shields and damage in the top right. There's a scanner of the play area, showing you in the center as a dot and any aliens, wherever they are, whether they're off screen or on your screen, they're on the scanner because it's a bigger area. And on the right, you have your score and your hit accuracy percentage. There's another number there, but I never knew what it is. I couldn't find any instructions for this. So I'm constantly I found some sort of weird ones sort of written down for the Amiga version, but it's kind of making my way through this. So you've got your hit accuracy percentage up there. Now, every time you shoot and hit an alien, this goes up, usually by 1%. However, every time you fire and miss, it goes down. So whilst this doesn't sound too bad, you have to get an accuracy rating of 40% before you can attempt the main game missions. And the aliens move around really fast, and it's really easy to miss them. And so you find your accuracy fluctuating between like 0 and 2. It's really hard, this bit. It's quite annoying. So what this leads to is slowly moving around and trying to hit them, and it can soon become quite a chore. I did manage it. If you go on Combat Simulator 2, they move around in trails and they're kind of a bit easier to hit. But I only did that because I was doing this review and it was annoying me. I thought, I've got to get through this. I think if I hadn't, I think I might have turned this off back in the day because it's quite annoying. And that would have been a bit of a shame, actually, because not since playing Driver, and those who know Driver, the PlayStation 1 game in the 90s, and having to pass the underground parking lot challenge, has a game been so insistent you cannot play the rest of it. It's weird. It's like this big hump you've got to get over before you get to the rest of the game. Once you get over it, you're good to go, but you've got to get over it. The good thing, though, is once you get past 40%, you can quit. You can just quit out with run stop. You don't have to wait for your shields to blow. You just quit out with run stop or escape on the keyboard, and you can go and do some missions and start earning money, and you're into the game properly. And you can come back to these sims at any time as you earn money because these asteroids and all that, they cost, so if you want to go play them. But what they actually are, so you can come back and play them, but you do most of these. So the disasteroids is the normal bit, space sim, planet sim, and truck sim. You'll kind of do all these bits. Disasteroids is a bit different, but you'll kind of do these bits anyway in the game. So, it's up to you if you want to come back and play these little bits. If you go back to the main menu after you've done this training, you've got 40%, you can now pick a mission. So option 2 is it says book a mission. And it's weird as a pirate that you've got to book these missions. No, you just go do it. But, you're working off some kind of books. I don't know. So option 2 allows us to book one. And so this takes us some further options. On the on the right of the screen, we have the 5 missions. And they've all got like a designated code number. And you can cycle through to different missions. There are 15 of these in total. And you can pick any of them. And you can pull up the details of them. It tells you the space system it's in, the difficulty and things like that. If you're happy with the chosen one, you can select book a mission. You press book a mission and you go back to the main screen. Now here you can now launch your ship into the mission itself. And if you do that, we get a list of the costs we have racked up. But it's weird this because we've got no money at the moment. I'm not sure what this is for. It just tells you this costs this and this costs this. Thanks for your business. Bye. And then you're off into the game. Press fire, you start the game. So what this is, we're out in space. And so this is similar to the training sim bit, except we're now in space and everything's now solid. So it's proper sprites. It's not that sort of virtual vector, sort of Vectrex style, asteroid style look of the simulator. Now it's properly in space. So we have a solid round spaceship. Enemies are variously weird craft. You can blast them and that's it. So we've got a 360 blaster essentially, and you can blast some of them. Some of them will drop coins to collect, which adds to your score and the money collected. The background itself is just some stars. It's not parallax. It's just some stars that scrolls around. And the controls of UI are exactly the same as before in the simulator. Now you'll also see on the screen a T in a cross. What this is marking your way to the teleporter because you need to head for this and then find the teleporter, and you just basically drive into the teleporter and then you can go. This allows you to teleport to the next area. When you reach it, you fly into it, but you don't go straight to the next area. You actually get transported to the cosmic map. The game just keeps giving you bits. It's kind of weird. So this looks like a green and black crossword puzzle at first. It's a big grid. And there are several icons on this map. There's a flashing skull and crossbones, and that's where you are. So that's where you are on this map. You'll also see some planets. There are other skull and crossbones that are not flashing, and they are pirates. And there will also be a fish. So the fish, this fish is your target. It's where you got to get to, all right? There's a fish on the title on the sort of main menu option screen as well. Now you can move one space in any direction. As soon as you do, you'll be transported back to the main game, shooting aliens and trying to find the transporter to get back to the map and make your next move. And that's the whole point of this. You're basically going through these regions to destroy everything, make money, make points and things like that. You need to take note of some things though. Black squares mean that the teleporter, so like I said, it's a crossword puzzle, so some of the squares are black, some are green. The black squares mean that the teleporter in that region is free to use. So you can just go and fly straight to it and teleport to another one. If it's a green square, you've got to need to rack up a score of 1,000 before you can use the teleporter. So you've got to fly around and shoot stuff first of all. And obviously you've got shields and damage and stuff. So you're taking that longer you're lasting in any zone where enemies are and they're all shooting at you and things like that. So it becomes more different. As you get different colors as you go further along for further different missions and in further different systems. You get a light green one. I think you've got to get 3,000 as a purple one, I think, which is 7,000 and so on and so on and so forth. So it gets more difficult the further you go because you're going to be spending longer in those zones, shooting stuff in order to progress. The game starts off with all missions. There's like a classification for missions, and that is A to F. So it starts off with all the missions classed as A. When you look on the details screen, they're the easiest. They progress through B, C, D, E, and F, and the F missions are the hardest, but they reap the most money. But as I said, they're the toughest to complete. So as you progress, you've got to choose what you want to do. If you move onto a planet, and instead of being in space, you'll now be playing above a planet surface. It's still the same 360 blaster. But here I was being attacked by a large craft, and you've got to destroy that in order to progress. You blow that up, and then you're back into space, or you're back into the cosmic, whatever it was, the cosmic crossword puzzle. If you land on a pirate square, then you need to take them out. There's pirates instead of aliens, and you shoot them to progress. Similar thing. Keep going. Once you reach the fish square, then you're at your destination where the space truck is. Now the T on the screen, because you're doing the spacey fly around bit and shoot stuff, head points towards the space truck. Head over to that and you'll see this big craft. It's a bit blocky and a bit weird, so it's on an oddly drawn thing. And then you've got there's small black parts on the truck. You can fly over it, it doesn't damage you, but you just got to blast these small black parts. So it's moving around, so it's quite hard to do. Once you've blasted all them, you just get given a message. Well done, you've completed the mission. And you're placed back at the computer option screen. But you've now got money and everything, so you've earned stuff. So here, with your ill-gotten loot, you can check your piracy status. This will tell you how, this will show several stats, like your time playing, your kills, both necessary and unnecessary, how many missions you've attempted, how many you've completed, your shooting accuracy, and the cash you have accrued. Once at that point, there's an option to go refit your ship. So here you can buy better shields and weapons for the next more dangerous mission. Select your mission, go to book a mission again, select one, and off you go again. And that's it. That's the loop. You basically go to a mission, you make your way through across this cosmic map, you get to the fish, you destroy it, you get to the fish, you get to the space truck, you blow it up, you get more money, you come back, you upgrade your craft, out you go again. And I don't know if there's an end to this or a goal. It just seems to go on and on. So that's it, kind of. You can save and load your progress, so that's quite good. So for a budget game, there's a lot of options and lots of stuff to do here. This all comes from the Amiga version, and everything from the Amiga version, bar some interstitial visuals and graphics and bits and bobs, has all been sort of transported over. And this is all a single load as well. You can turn the sound effects off and on, and you will want to save your progress if you get into this, and because you want to keep going. The visuals are okay, I guess, for a budget game. They're nothing spectacular, but everything moves fast. There were no glitches that I could really see. Everything's whipping around and stuff, and you can shoot stuff. The music feels weird though. It's like something from about early 1985. It just sort of comes in interstitial little bleeps and bloops every now and again. It's nothing particularly brilliant. It's got a weird feel to this game, but I think there's a decent premise here, and it reminded me of Morpheus.
Yeah, I thought that.
In a way, because it's the loop again. It's the loop of heading out across space and planets, ransacking space trucks for money to improve your craft and go and do it once again. That was Morpheus, wasn't it? I mean, you went out, you improved your ship, you bought new stuff. It was a loop, and that loop itself is not a bad loop. That's a games these days have those kind of built-in loops where you're just going out to get new stuff to improve your stuff. That's a core game design loop. And so here we've got a really early variant of what we've got of these kind of free-to-play games where you go play stuff to buy to get more loot, to buy more cosmetics and skins.
Loot crates, grinding.
Yeah, exactly. It's that. That's what this game is. So in that respect, yeah, it's that. Could there have been more here? Probably, maybe. Some different effects for the different weapons. I bought some different weapons, but they all seem to shoot the same. I don't know if there was different effects for them or not. But it's a budget game. It's £3. There's a fair chunk of well-crafted game here because it's come from that £20 Amiga game, which did all this. So it's been boiled down, stripped down, and shrunk to this 64 version in one load. It's let down a bit by that stupid challenge to actually get to the main game. Now, the second time I played this, because it crashed on me at one point, so I had to reload, and I was like, oh God, I can't go through that again. So we actually had a cheat on the version we were playing, and I just put the thingy don't go down, the accuracy don't go down. And I was like, because I've done it once, I just need to get to 40%. And so turning the option on for your accuracy not to go down makes this a much more playable experience. It's a stupid design decision, I think, and one of the missteps this game make. But once you do, if you get into this and you save it and you load it, I could see this possibly keeping you occupied for some time because it's got that loop, it's got that drive, that numbers go up, make more money. Like it's almost like an arcade version of Elite in a sense as well. There's that element to it as well. So it got 85%. I think that's about fair for what's here at this price. I thought this was quite a decent game. It doesn't look much, and it's weird to start with, but once you kind of get into that grind and that loop, I thought this was actually all right. I think this is quite an interesting game, and much better than those other two we've played so far this week. Yeah, what did you think?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to add a ton more to what you said. There's a lot more to this game than meets the eye initially, and I had some really neat ideas, and I like those ideas. Yes, the presentation's a little bit rough around the edges here and there, but actually it works, and it works for what it is. I think a lot of people would never get past the vector bit, where you have to do the simulations. I think a lot of bouncing off this game would have happened then, because people would have gone, oh, is that it? But of course, that isn't the game, and you do have to persevere and get through that and go through that to get to the proper game, which has the better graphics and everything else. But I bet if you looked at the sort of rage quitting part of this game, that's the real bounce point for it. So, and if you do bounce off at that, you're missing out on a lot of stuff that's actually pretty interesting.
Yeah.
I found this was quite good. It had some quite nice graphics later, some really neat ideas. all quite well realized and relatively, hassle-free. It's complicated, I suppose. There's a lot to think about in the terms of sort of the options and everything else that you've got to construct and the way it navigates. But it's £3, for goodness sake. I mean, you're getting a lot of game for £3 here.
You are.
So I think there's a lot of interesting ideas, a lot of little inventions, quite inventive game, actually, in the way that it's displayed, in the way that you carry out the things of the game. There's something a little bit more interesting. It belies its £3 price tag. I thought it was particularly good. This just got that heavy bounce point. And I think that is probably what cost this game its greater fan base, because unless you're willing to put in the effort, and it is a pain in the ass, I have to say, it's a bit painful to get past because you feel like you're just not getting anywhere. And it's like, it just feels like a constant grind. But that's the key phrase here. This is, as you exactly point out, this is the Destiny of its day. And if you were willing to put in the effort in Destiny and just grind your way through endless loot crates and everything else, you could upgrade to whatever you wanted. This is kind of that idea, just in a very simplified way. So it's also a little bit ahead of its own curve. For £3, £3, this is pretty damn good. I thought it all looked and felt the part. Not bad at all. Good effort. Certainly better than the other two, like you said. Yeah, I enjoyed what I played. I can just imagine how frustrating that little bounce point is, though, for some people. And it was for me. It surprised me that I even persevered with it, but I'd read there was more to it, and you just had to stick with it. So I gave it a good blast and managed to find my way out of the simulations and onto the actual game. And once I did that, I was away. So
yeah, I mean, I started off just blasting and shooting everything and didn't realise what I was doing, sort of thing. But then you realise, actually, I need to pick my shots. It's called accuracy. Okay.
Yeah.
Right, fair enough. But it's just a pain in the ass to actually have to, because they move so fast and they're so tricky to, because they come at you you can only fire in 8 directions and they don't come at you quite in the 45-degree.
No, it's not made easy for you, and you do have to think about it. But that's this game. This is not a shoot 'em up. This is a think 'em up. You've got to think about stuff and don't go into it thinking that it's anything else, and you'll probably find yourself having a good time with it. Go in there expecting to just blast everything in sight. Well, you'll do that, but you won't get anywhere. So,
yeah, exactly.
£3, really good value. I mean, look at the other two, all those fancy production and all the licenses in the world. You don't need them, did you?
No, you just need a good core loop.
A good core game design loop, yep.
That's all you need. And Cosmic Pirate has it. There we go. So we like that. That's good. Let's move on to our last game for this week. Graham, that's over to you for you to become a Kendo Warrior.
Kendo Warrior!
Not a Ken Dodd Warrior.
Not Ken, don't be one of them. He's tickled to see you and all that.
Did he, man?
So this is published by Bikeback again.
Yeah.
And it's also created by MC Lothorian. He's on his second set. All right. The house is just starting to bounce.
Show me your kendo sticks.
So this is, musician here was Tony Williams. Okay.
Yeah.
And the title screen was Martin Holland. Quite interesting. So I've got the blurb for this. And the blurb is as follows. You have entered the high-tech headquarters of the enemy. Your mission is to steal some top secret documents from the safe and then make your way to the roof where you'll be picked up by the helicopter, which sounds very painful. Intelligence reports, quote unquote, that the building has various security devices, including different types of particle beam doors. To pass these, you need to find quantities of the relevant particle shields. Hopefully, you'll also be able to find out other artifacts, which will help you overcome the various other obstacles blocking your path. Armed only with your kendo sword, you will have to be very skilled to battle your way past all the guards to complete your mission. There you go, the blurb. Nice and simple. You control your Kendo Warrior with the joystick. So without fire button pressed, just movement. You've got walk left and right. You can roll. So he does like a nice little roll. You can crouch down. You can do a somersault as well. And you can jump. And the moves are pretty sprightly, I have to say. With fire pressed, you can do a jump kick. You can fling your sword high or in the middle. Or you can do a sword and a leg sweep, which is quite interesting, or a crouch kick. And you can also press I for the current things that you are holding. So this is quite an interesting game. It's got a good, if unusual, loading screen, I have to say. But still, it's okay. It's kind of quite nicely realised. And in keeping with the idea of the game, so it's a sort of a screen, jumping, animating main sprite on the title screen. So you've got this kind of, guy going through the motions, kendo style. Quite nice on when the title screen appears. With the main game sprite for the game, there's a logo and a simple start. I just started with a move of the joystick, so I think you just, this game's ready to go.
It's ready once you're playing, yeah.
And the music, I thought was very good, actually. It surprised me.
Yeah,
so really good music in this, yeah, really good. All the way through, it's good. The game takes up the top 2/3 once you've started the game, and you won't be able to help it because you'll just move or cough and the game will start because you're in. And then that with nice background details, so some really nice shading. Below is the UI with the lives indicated. And then throughout the game, message and details and things will appear down there as well.
Mm-hmm.
The action is flip screen as you walk left to right, etc. Or roll or jump, however you want to do that. There are also pipes which you can jump up through, and likewise pipe poles which you can drop down through. All nice. Reminded me of Ninja in that respect.
Yeah.
Around the map, there are also areas where you can replenish your various different types of shield, and you'll need to replenish those shields or even have shields in order to get through some of the doors which are blocking your progress through to the safe where you've got to find the documents. So you've got to find the documents.
Have you got the documents?
Have you got the documents? Lisa, did you hear what we said just now? Mr. Nagasaki is in charge of all of Japan. There's nothing he doesn't know. Anyway, I digress. Sorry, it's suffering from some kind of crap film Tourette's. Anyway, so around the map, they say there's also areas where you can replenish your shields, and you've got to do that to progress through the doors. Fine. Through the levels, but not constantly, you'll get attacked by dogs and armed guards that will fight you and follow you. And they will appear. Even if you just stand still in this game, they'll find you.
Yeah, they will.
And that's because they're patrolling and wandering around so they're not just on a cycle, and they're not on a refresh cycle, although they do obviously refresh, but it's not like you kill one and then instantly reappear with another one. It doesn't quite work that way. If you kill one, you get a little bit of time before they'll come looking for that one. It's quite nice. And obviously fighting will deplete your energy, so you've got to, decide whether you're going to fight or whether you're going to jump over them and try and make a run for it. You can't always do that, though, because in true Barbarian 2 tradition, which this game also leans on, sometimes when you fight them, they'll hit you and you sort of fly backwards a bit and jump back a bit, and you can't quite get where you want to be. And there can be ways that these things can block you from progressing, and that's frustrating. So you've got to fight Kendo style. So sword above your head, start smacking the crap out of them. Best way to do it. So the aim of the game then is to explore the maze of corridors and locations, find the various tools and items. We've seen this kind of thing before. So find the items, to find the safe, to get the documents, to make good your escape from the rooftops. Not dissimilar to the story for Saboteur, although you had to go to the basement in that, Saboteur 2, and I think Saboteur 1, you had to get in a helicopter. Saboteur 2, I think you had to go to the basement and go on a motorbike. But either way, go into the building to find the thing. We've seen this game on the C64 many, many times, right down to impossible mission, things like that.
Mm-hmm.
Fine. It's not been anything particularly new or interesting. Okay, that's fine. So the question then becomes, is it doing those things that it's doing well enough then? And the answer here is yes. Firstly, there's a lot to commend with this. The graphics, they might all be medium res, but they're bloody good, I thought. This is a good-looking game for its price.
Yep.
The graphic sprites are nicely drawn. They're nicely animated. The way you control it is perfectly logical for once. Logic wins. So, if you need to pick something up, you just go over it. If you need to fight, you just use the various fight options. It's not fighting you to fight. You just have to fight. Yeah. And jump and leap and fight.
Up and jump, up and fire is a jumping kick. Top left and thing it's saying, not bottom, down and right is your jumping attack. It's like, no, just, works.
Exactly. Now, the fighting style of this game probably leans more into Yao Kung Fu than it does to a sort of more Kung Fu Master type vibe.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit, and it's actually got, I think, got hints of IK in it, a little bit of that kind of logic. It's not as well configured because it's not just about fighting, because this is actually an adventure game, an exploring game. But the fighting works in service to that, so it doesn't feel like it's a game where you're just constantly fighting your way from level to level to level. There is an opportunity to explore in this and sneak around. You've got to find those little, and when you go into the various different areas to replenish your shield, there's like these lumps in the floor, like sort of bumps, and you go over those and it just replenishes your shield. It even tells you on your little display screen, you have replenished your platinum shield, you have replenished your uranium shield, and different shields go through different types of door in different areas. And then you'll find that there's things that you need to do. So there's an area that you can't access because there's a flame coming out of a leaking pipe. So you need to find a wrench to be able to fix the pipe. And it's that kind of game. Now, the kind of things you have to do are actually pretty obvious. So, I need to fix a pipe. Oh, there's a wrench. And it's things like that. And there's...
That's good. That's good.
Yeah, I was going to say. Now, at least it means that the sort of goals and missions of this game are very clear and simple. So you're not overwhelming you with a load of random things that you need to pick up and think, what do I need to do with that? Which is what we had with Tusker. It wasn't like that. So this game, you are exploring, fighting, and finding stuff, and it's quite obvious what you need to do with it because you'll remember the locations. Now, that's the other thing. While there is quite a reasonably sized map to this, it isn't 1,000 screens in every direction. It's navigatable in terms of what you need to do. Now, it is quite a big map, but you'll start to remember the paths and routes to things. You probably want to map it, actually, and create a map for this. But there's routes and ways to get to things. And when you start to know those, then you're going to start to double back on yourself. But it's not like you have to go 5,000 screens away. More often than not, the objects that you need are actually within a fairly tight radius of the thing you need to do with them. So the main thing you have to be wary of here is making sure that you've got the right shields and you know where all of your shield replenishing things are so that you can get through the right doors in the right place. Because sometimes you'll go through a door and an object might fly at you. There's these dog things that can jump at you. And they can knock you backwards. And if they do, and then knock you back through the shield, you won't have enough shield charge to get back through that door. So then you've got to go and find the door. So sometimes you've got to be very careful about how you navigate. And it's often standing and fighting is often sometimes the worst option. You need to just get into the middle of the screen and get out of the way of things. So like I said, this is leading into Barbarian 2 style as well. That kind of going, it's not so much in the way you go backwards and forwards into different areas of the map and have that weird sword to navigate. You don't really need that here. This is just a fairly rudimentary exploration, and you can either go up or down in the various tubes, or you can go left and right through the doors. There's no complex, compass points needed for that. You just have to find your way through the screens. And there's enough on the screens, and because there are some screens that have nothing in them, which is nice for once. Sometimes these things will find their way to those, but more often than not, if you're running down a corridor, it's not going to just suddenly fill with enemies that randomly materialize and attack you. You don't get that here. It's giving you a little bit of time to find stuff. The controls are all responsive. They all make sense. It's quite fast. The way it runs, the way it jumps and everything else, it's fast. It goes from screen to screen really quickly. There's not a glitch or a bug in sight. So I like this because of the sort of the way that it plays out. There's hints of all those other exploring games, but it's taken the best elements of those and just focused on them a little. Now, this isn't a perfect game, but it's perfect for £3. I mean, come along. So there's a nice sense of mystery to this as well. There's a compelling weirdness about this game. Now, I don't mean that in a bad way. There's a vibe about this game. It captures something, and it is driven by the music that has a melancholy sense. It reminded me of Project Firestar in this, because that had the same kind of music. The tonality of the music sets the tone for the game very clearly here. So it's not some kind of Monty on the run, jovial, trying to get through the thing, which, okay, that's in service for that game. This is some kind of sort of sci-fi background music that's works perfectly for trying to navigate and explore this kind of thing. And because of that, you've got atmosphere, and the game feels like it has atmosphere. This is still £3 we're talking about here. So it's got buckets of atmosphere. The graphics are really nice. They're colourful. They're well drawn. They're varied. They're really decent. They're better than the Batman graphics, I have to say. The sprites are better. I say it's all medium res, so they don't even have the fancy high-res overlay. It doesn't need it here because it all works really nicely. And so the mission then becomes quite straightforward, and in the sense that you know what you've got to do. You know the goal. You know you've got to find the safe, get the documents, and get the hell out of there. That's your goal. All you've got to do then is find the various parts and components to do that. Fight your way through to get and make that happen. Very cool indeed. A lot of interesting stuff going on here. Lots of challenging enemies that will follow you about. Some are more difficult than others. You got to think about it. You can't just stand and fight. You got to hop about a bit. That's why I say it leans in on that Yao Kung Fu style. But there's enough here to map. There's enough here to get into, and the music is really, really good. This is a really good budget game. I had never heard of it before, but apparently there's another game by the guy that made this that we either have yet to play or came out and was never reviewed in Zapped, which is mentioned in Lemon. I can't remember the name of it now without looking. But that looks a lot like this one as well. And if it's anything like this one, I think it's probably going to be another little hidden gem. This is by far the best game I've played of this type in a long while. It really does show you that £3 can get you a lot of value in the C64. And this got robbed at 82%. I'm sorry, but it did. This should have been in the 90s, at least, even the early 90s, but this should have been 90s, probably even a sizzler for what it offers. Because for the money and the budget, it's really good. So as a game, this would have been good at full price for me. As a budget game, this is truly excellent. It contains enough mystery. It keeps things simple. It's got a really good control system. There's not a bug in sight. It's a very simple fighting mechanic. There's things to explore that mean that the game makes sense. I like this. Perhaps Batman should have taken a note of this, really. Or maybe even the Thunderbirds, because that has a similar kind of vibe. This is a fight and seek game done very well, and I applaud. It's very, very good, and it was clearly worth more than £3. So fair play to them. This was great. What did you think?
Pretty much agree. I thought this was really good. It's a flick screen fighter with decent controls, solid visuals, and a great piece of music for £3. Sign me the hell up.
Yep, bargain.
Okay, yeah. There's a lot to like here. And yeah, £3. It's exactly what I've written for £3. It's a bit of a bargain. Certainly putting a lot of the full price shit we've had to look at recently to shame. Both of these have. The music's excellent, really good, adding a moody and somber atmosphere to proceedings as you wander around the well-drawn and thematically consistent labs. It's a good, this looks the part. The clash of high-tech backgrounds and kendo fighters is an odd one, but I like it. I think it works well. I think this is kind of old school fighting on these kind of tech labs. It's kind of a weird, I don't know how you sort of describe it, but it reminded me of some film. I can't think what it was, but like you got these sort of high tech stuff with swords having a bit of John Wick or something like that in certain areas. I like the fact that different strategies need to be adopted against the various enemies. Those ones in black, they're particularly tough. So you can't just go in on them. You've got to think and bounce around and I think that's the kung fu bit. You can't just stand and take because they'll just take you out. You'd be like, the first ones you get, they're quite easy to take down, sort of thing. But once you get to the ones in black, they're like, oh, they're tricky. So I like the fact that there was different AI on different, that some of them were different. That was good. My only downside was those screens with, there's that something in the roof spewing out balls of stuff at you. I thought those screens were a bit, because couldn't really seem to dodge past them very well. So I don't know whether that was me.
Just to jump and roll and leap through it as quick as possible. Yeah, you can't avoid being hit, really.
I just seemed to take loads of damage when I was making my way through all the time.
They're heavy on that.
I think maybe some kind of on-screen indicator to let you know how you're doing would have been handy. Just something rather than having to go to an inventory screen. Just maybe something to show where you're heading or what you got to collect. Something, just a little bit of help. But I like the way you move between levels, the holes in the ceilings and floors. I like the fact that when you died, you respawned exactly where you were back on the screen. So if you'd got most of the way across the screen and killed by those ball things, you were on the other side ready to just get out. So that was good as well. The little things like that work and make you, it's an affordance to the player. We say this all the time. If you do things that are good for the player's experience, kill them, that's fine. And then you shove them back. Batman, take a note. The amount of times you die falling off a platform in Batman where you can't see what you're underneath you and then you're way back in the level. Bloody annoying. Here, just where you died. For £3, this is a really, really good game. There's loads going on here, I think. Never heard of it before, like you. Never heard of this. Was it Demon's Kiss is the other game he did or something?
Yeah, that's the one.
Is it Demon's Kiss? Yeah, I was having a look. Yeah, that doesn't seem to have been cropped up at all. But it does look quite interesting.
Similar.
Yeah, similar graphical style and stuff, yeah. Yeah, I really enjoyed this. Is it a bit too hard? Maybe, but, it's £3 multi-screen, really good sort of fighter exploratory thing. We've not really seen something that does the combo as well as this. Maybe Samurai Warrior obviously was a bit different because that was left to right scrolling. Have we seen many games which do this kind of flick screen but where it's got decent fighting, that do it like this? And it's like, actually, this works. There's not many that we've seen where we've gone, this works, that works. And it's like you said, if you like if you like mapping and whapping, I thought that was the comment, this is going to be nectar from the gods for you. So if you're a mapper and whapper, yeah, you're going to love this because there's loads to map here, loads to attack, get your teeth into, and there's puzzles and stuff to solve, and there's PowerPoints and all that kind of things. You just and to back that all up, I just really like the look of it. I like the look of your sprite. I like the way the animation when you bounce and you rolled and stuff and you jumped around and the attack movement. Yeah, really good. Really impressed with this. £3, 82%. Nah, it should have been a sizzler. Both of them should. Both this and Cosmic Pirate should have been 90 plus. I think maybe Cosmic Pirate because of that big hump. You got to get over, maybe, but I still think what's there is still worth it. And this certainly for £3, this is reminded me of Zamzara and stuff like that. That kind of quality of budget title, those kind of high quality budget stuff. Really good. Kendo Warrior, yes, Kendo Warrior. It's the Kendo Warrior. And there we go. That's it. Thankfully, we had a better second half to this week than we did the first half.
We did. We did indeed.
Budget rescue.
We did. The budget games came in and went, hold my beers.
Absolutely. This is how you do games.
Yeah, too bloody right.
You don't need a license. You don't need anything. Just make good games, for God's sake.
Yep.
Anyway, there we go. That's it for this week. Just 4 games, but we've spoken quite a lot about them. There you go.
Yeah.
If you want to support us, you can do that. Obviously, you can do that by heading over to our Patreon. It's a new year. So you might want to sort of help out. It's up to you. You can do that. Go to patreon.com/Zapped to the past and join up. Price for sandwich or something. Gets you access to our Discord and all those kind of things and gets you the episodes early and ad-free and carry on and so forth. You can buy our stuff at zappedtothepast.shop.
Yeah.
Get some cool merch. You can get things like mugs and hoodies and T-shirts and badges. And is it badges or... Is there any badges?
Stickers.
Stickers.
No badges, stickers.
We don't need no stinking badges. Things like that. You can buy us a coffee at kofi.com/Zapped to the past. Or just if you've got something to add and we see, we like getting some comments like we saw with the video Walkman thing. Do that. We'll give it a shout out. We like mentioning these things. We love it when we get people sort of joining in. So yeah. Next week, Graham, we've got the rest of November. We've got 5 games. 5 more games to come.
5 games indeed.
Would you like to know what those games are?
Yes, please.
Those games are The Untouchables.
Okay.
So it's the second gold medal from Ocean this month.
Okay. I wonder if it's going to be a platform game where you have to wander around.
I don't think it is. I think it's a bit different, but I don't know. Continental Circus.
Racing game, isn't it?
Is it a racing game, not a circus?
Yeah, it's Continental Circuit, isn't it? It was ended up being called Continental Circus, didn't it?
Oh, right.
The accident.
Okay. Firepower. Don't know.
Okay.
Vigilante. I've heard bad things about Vigilante, but I'm not quite sure. We'll see. And then finally, Power Drift to end the month on. We'll see how that goes.
Okay, we'll see how that goes.
We'll see how the conversion of that goes. So we've only got and then it's December, and then we're done. And we're done with 1989.
Blimey, that seems to have gone very quickly.
It has. It's gone very quickly. I don't think I've got anything more to add. Have you got anything you want to add, Graham?
No, I don't. No, I think it's been triumph of the budgets. In the battle of the budgets won.
They certainly did. They proved to be Batman's nemesis, was the budget games. He couldn't overcome them.
Exactly.
Yeah. Seems that Ocean made a Joker out of him. And as for Indie, the non-action game, Inaction Man.
The Inaction Man, yeah. You don't do anything.
Just clumpy.
Rubbish.
Clumpy.
Clumpy indeed. Clumpy Clumperson.
So on that clumpy note, I have been Adrian Mills.
And I have been Graham Raddings.
And you have been listening to Zapped to the Past. And we will see you again next week. Goodbye.
Thank you for listening to the Zapped to the Past podcast. We hope you enjoyed our deep dive into the world of Commodore 64 games, as well as the music, films and TV from around the 1980s, driven, of course, by the issue of Zap 64 magazine published at that time. We will return with a whole new batch of games and stuff to talk about next week. Until then, if you want to listen to or download previous episodes of Zapped to the Past, and why wouldn't you, they can all be found on our website at zappedtothepast.com, as well as being available on Podbean, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Deezer, Audible, Player FM, and, well, pretty much anywhere where we can upload them. By the way, we do always love to hear from our amazing listeners, so if you'd like to contact us about anything in the podcast or beyond, you can do so by emailing us at zappedtothepast@gmail.com. We're also active on Twitter under @ZapTother, as well as Facebook, Instagram, and most social media platforms. Just search for Zap to the Past and you'll find us. Oh, and if you like the podcast and what we're doing, please do like, share, review, rate us. It really helps. Something, apparently. The Zap to the Past podcast is written and produced by Adrian Mills and Graham Raddings and recorded at Flaky Bits 2.0 Studio. All opinions expressed are those of the writers, and while we indeed love Zap 64 magazine, the Zap to the Past podcast is not affiliated with it in any way. Stay safe, see you next time, and remember, we play these games so you don't have to.